There is another storm heading in your direction, so this could be a back-to-back event, so I wouldn't be getting outside and doing too much just yet. Pay very close attention to that storm as we move through the next 20 or 30 minutes. Also, continuing with that tornado warning for northwestern Dane and southern portions of Sauk County. Let's zoom into that one. Fortunately, we have not had a report of this actually being on the ground, but it continues to be radar indicated, and it does look like we have the new flash flood warning for Sauk County. I was talking about that a little bit ago. The rain is almost tropical-like in nature, and this is very concerning for flash flooding as well. So that is a new warning that's come out on top of the tornado and the severe thunderstorm warning, and what we're going to have to keep a very close eye on. Let's zoom in here to the velocity real quick. We are seeing general gusty winds. Where you have the blue here, that's where you're seeing winds in excess of 60 miles an hour in most places. And really from Prairie du Sac down towards Mazo-Maney. This is for extreme southeastern Sauk County. I think northwestern Dane County is going to be next in line for the most significant portion of this line. There's Highway 12, so you can see that area as we move through the next couple of minutes down to Cross Plains, where that tornado warning also includes. Be in your tornado safe place and be prepared for what's heading our direction. Also continuing with that tornado warning as we move into Richland County and also northern portions of Grant. Just like that cell we were tracking near the Mississippi, this could impact the same areas that are being impacted now, perhaps with a 1-2 punch as we move through the evening hours. So as one storm moves out, maybe your tornado warning expires. Keep an eye on what's going on, because you may be placed back under another warning as we push later into the afternoon. Meteorologist Amanda Morgan has joined us as well this afternoon. Amanda, I know you've been keeping an eye on this. We were talking about it yesterday. We were hoping this wouldn't develop, but here we are, and things getting pretty nasty out there.
Yeah, that's right, Brian. A kind of nasty evening. I do want to focus a little bit more on that flash flood warning that was just issued for much of Sauk County. That runs until 9:15 this evening. The National Weather Service was saying there were some reports of rainfall close to or over 3 inches in just the past 2 hours or so. And now keep in mind, that's on top of the close to 2 inches of rain that a lot of those areas saw yesterday, and that's on top of everything we saw earlier in the week. So again, we do have that flash flood warning in place. This doesn't include the Dells. This is just south of the Dells, so it's close to Baraboo, does include Baraboo, into Loganville, down to Plain, and then right near Prairie du Sac as well. So a lot of heavy rain will continue as these storms continue to move through the area. As Brian has been saying, kind of tropical torrential type rain. We have all the moisture in the air. It's been incredibly humid today, and so that has really helped to fuel a lot of the energy in the atmosphere, and we have all of that moisture to pull from as these storms are moving through. So we'll continue with that heavy rain as we go through the rest of the evening, and with these storms moving through, the strong wind gusts that we're watching as well. That soil is very soggy and saturated. That loosens up the soil around the roots of some of those older trees especially, and when those strong winds come, that can potentially blow over some of those trees. So I think that's something we'll also have to keep an eye on as we go through the rest of the evening here. But of course, we do still have those 3 tornado warnings in place. That one for parts of Dane County, that's northwestern Dane County, Iowa County, parts of Sauk County, that runs until 6:30. The time right now is 6:08. That other one for Crawford, Grant, and Richland counties, and then that far southern one that we've been tracking for quite some time now in Lafayette County, and that runs until 6:30. But of course, we're keeping a close eye on that one that is just near Dubuque, just off towards the west to the west of the Mississippi, as that will likely be headed towards southern Grant County and potentially into Lafayette County here, Brian.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Amanda. And I think it is very important to note the flash flooding situation. We are perhaps heading to what could be a very significant flooding threat for the remainder of the evening hours. We also have the tornado threat, the gusty wind threat. The only thing that may not be a huge concern would be the hail, not necessarily a hail environment that we are in right now. Not to say we won't see some pea to maybe quarter-size hail, but flooding is becoming a huge concern. Look at the returns on the radar here. They are very bright, indicating those tropical-like downpours and producing rainfall rates of in excess of 1 inch an hour. Some locations yesterday, 3, 4, 5 inches of rain. We could do it all again today, and that's just not something that the ground can handle. And of course, heading into next week, we're going to be really dealing with a river flooding threat. So we will have to keep a close eye on how that materializes in the days and hours ahead as well. All right, let's take a look at each of these storms individually and kind of show you you what's going on because we are keeping an eye on that storm that is just west of the Mississippi for Grant County. A first alert if you live in the southern portions of Grant County that this storm may be heading in your direction. We are going to be watching that very closely. I do want to do a storm track on this cell that's in the Lafayette County. These storms are moving off to the east, northeast at around 40 miles an hour. So this is going to be moving towards Blanchardville in the next 30 minutes or so. New Glarus, 45 minutes. Belleville, probably within the next hour if it does hold together. So southern Dane County, northern Greene County, you will be next in line. This storm does not currently have any alerts issued for you, but it is something we will need to keep an eye on. Back up to the north we go, and we are tracking that severe thunderstorm and tornado warning. That does include northwestern Dane County and southeastern portions of Sauk County, same as before. This one kind of moving off to the east and southeast at around 40 miles an hour. So this will continue to impact much of Dane County, suspecting we'll see some type of warning expanded for the rest of Dane County, or at least the rest of northern Dane County. So heads up Waunakee to Forest, Sun Prairie. Over the next 30 to 45 minutes, this is heading in your direction. That would also include the downtown Madison area. Within an hour, Marshall, if that holds together. And then that third tornado warning, that is back to the west, and that does include portions of Crawford, Richland, and northern Grant County, although the warned part is moving out of portions of Crawford County, which continues to be good news, but that would be the cell in this area, and this is going to be moving, it looks like, off to the east about 40 miles an hour as well. So areas that are being impacted by storms currently will likely be impacted by at least one more storm, and that's what's making the situation so dangerous. It's not a one hit and it's out of here. A storm moves through, we're getting another one and perhaps another one. It's raining just buckets out there, and that's going to make it very difficult to see any kind of tornado that is on the ground. So I do not recommend looking outside for this. Just get to your safe place and be prepared for what's going to be heading in your direction. And again, rain is a very, very huge threat. I know we're actually getting some video out of the Merrimack area of potential flooding in that region. Amanda, also going to send it back over to you real quick.
Yeah, we're looking at our camera that's at the Merrimack Ferry there. You can see that rain coming down. I saw a couple flashes of lightning there. Looks like there are some cars there potentially trying to get on the ferry. I hope that is not the case. But yeah, you can really see that rain coming down. And we've been talking a lot about how heavy this rain is. And that is really one of the big concerns. Yes, tornadoes are our main concern, but I want to show you the rainfall rate that we're looking at. Now, again, in Madison, we're still quiet at this point in time. This is just starting to move into northwestern Dane County. I'm going to click right north of Prairie du Sac and see if we can get an estimate on that rainfall rate. So our system is estimating that rain is falling close to about 3 inches per hour. So if it just rains for a little bit, that is a lot of rain piling up in a very short amount of time. And all of this is moving through relatively quickly, but notice how storms are following one after another. So that one is moving through Prairie du Sac right now, and then this one through Richland Center will be following right behind it. So multiple rounds of heavy rain is really the big concern. And we can actually take a closer look at the estimated rainfall so far today. And we'll click just north of Prairie du Sac again and see what our system estimates. Estimates 5.5 inches of rain so far, just north of Richland Center there. Also estimating over 5.5 inches, close to 5.25. So a lot of rain continuing to go. And I want to give you a reminder, if you are out on the roads later this evening or even early tomorrow morning and you encounter a flooded area, might be a little inconvenient, but turn around, take a different route. You never know what is underneath that water, the condition of the roadway, if there might be sharp objects that could pop your tires, or if there could potentially be a down power line a little bit further downstream, and that could be dangerous for you to drive or even walk through. So that's something very important to keep in mind as we continue with a lot of heavy rain and also a ton of lightning. Look at this, just starting to move into northern Dane County. Our system estimating about 558 lightning strikes right now. So things are about to get pretty active here in Madison. It does just look like a severe thunderstorm warning has now been issued for the Madison area into other parts of central Dane County and northern Dane County here, Brian.
Yeah, Amanda, that was the newest warning that just came out as you were talking. So just in the last minute or two, that severe thunderstorm warning expanded for almost the rest of northern Dane County. And that is going to be going for the next 45 minutes to an hour. And that is a downstream warning, but fortunately it is a severe thunderstorm warning. So we've seen that tornado risk maybe weaken just a little bit, but it's being replaced with a very gusty wind threat. The whole system itself moving off to the east at around 35 miles an hour. This is an incredible amount of lightning. As Amanda was saying, just in that cell alone, we're pushing 600 lightning strikes. That is incredible. It's hard to even make out the returns on the radar there. There's so much lightning. We're also looking to allow this tornado warning that is in place for southern Richland and northern Grant County to expire. That is some good news as well. We'll see if the rotation kind of stays away as we move into the next 30 minutes. There are a couple cells kind of congealing here. Sometimes you can get rotating winds in different directions as these cells merge. So always a threat to keep an eye on. We are still staying with that tornado warning for northern Lafayette, and then we're keeping an eye on southern Grant County as that cell that is just across the Mississippi there is going to be approaching your area in the next 20 or 30 minutes if you live right along the Mississippi. And this is coming off of the heels of that reported tornado earlier this afternoon and evening between the Potosi and Platteville area. Of course, we are going to be working to get more information on that, but there was some report of some damage in that area as the tornado moved through that region. What's left of that storm is now down into portions of northern Lafayette. So let's start there and see how things are looking. I'm going to put the velocity tracker back on. This is a radar indicated tornado at this point, indicating that the storm itself is rotating. If we were able to look at the storm, we probably would have a rotating wall cloud at times, maybe a quick funnel cloud. It does not look like there is a tornado on the ground at this moment, but we are close. And with a history of producing a tornado, it needs to be watched very closely. Areas north of Darlington, you're going to be most at risk for this storm. If you live in the southern portions of Lafayette County, there's really not a ton going on. In fact, you get down near the state line and there's absolutely nothing going on, and things are not really of concern. So northern Lafayette County, that's the area we're watching. This is going to move north and eastward, clip southern portions of Iowa, northern portions of Greene, and eventually into southern portions of Dane. So this will be the next area of concern. So a first alert for you guys from New Glarus to southern Dane County that this system, this cell right here, is heading in your direction, and you should keep a very, very close eye on what's going on. Widening the map out here, let's take another look into Dane County as this storm begins to head in your direction, and northwestern Dane County is just getting pounded by this lightning. This is incredible to see how many lightning strikes are occurring with this storm. The potential of 60+ mile-an-hour winds and just tropical-like rain that is making it very hard to see anything that's going on. This is going to be crossing I-3990 here relatively soon. I don't know if we can see any of the cameras along this stretch here just to see how reduced the visibility is as the cell moves in that direction. But this is going to, I think, clip Madison and points northward, and that kind of lines up with where the warning is. If you're down in the Fitchburg, Oregon, you're not seeing this. Stoughton area, you're not seeing this. And down in the Rock County, you're in the clear for now. We will see what that cell does into Lafayette County because that's the one that would be more so moving in your direction. But northern Dane County, you are in line for this very strong storm moving through the area right now. And again, you can see that we do have these stronger pockets of wind associated with this line. Where you get into the blue shadings here, that's where we are seeing those 60 to 65 mile-an-hour wind gusts. And again, anytime you see a little notch here, you always have to ask yourself if that's going to produce a quick spin-up tornado. None of these are looking overly impressive notch-wise, but definitely something to keep an eye on. And that continued tornado warning from Prairie du Sac, Mazomanie to the Waunakee area, that's where we do have that tornado warning. I think we're going to see this trim back for much of Sauk County in the next couple of minutes. And that tornado risk would be primarily for northwestern portions of Dane County, and then a wind threat from Waunakee over to Sun Prairie. Widen this out one more time here for you. I'm going to put this in loop and see what we have going on. Any new things kind of coming out. We have trimmed that tornado warning a little bit back for portions of Lafayette. Looks like we've issued a new severe thunderstorm warning for the entire county of Iowa. as this cell begins to move in your direction. So Iowa County, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning now. That's a brand new warning. I know, Amanda, you've been keeping an eye on this. Do you have any new information on the warning for Iowa that was just issued really just a couple minutes ago?
Yeah, Brian, that warning goes until 7 o'clock this evening. That is for Iowa County, really all of Iowa County, and does include parts of Sauk County as well. Again, that severe thunderstorm warning goes until 7 o'clock this evening. The main concern we're watching for is any quick little areas of rotation that could potentially spawn a funnel cloud and then leading to a tornado. Our hail threat has been relatively low. I did see one person on Facebook saying they had baseball-sized hail in one area. I believe that was in parts of Richland County. We haven't seen any photos of that, but generally hail hasn't been an incredibly large threat this evening since we have a lot of warm air in the atmosphere. We'll continue to watch all of these storms. Again, that little cell that's moving through Iowa County is moving at about 40 miles per hour and is really about to head into Iowa County. Much of Iowa County is still relatively quiet aside from the northern part. So let's pull up radar here. We'll take off the lightning so we can see things a little bit clearer. Let's just generally put a track on all of these storms as they're continuing to, again, move to the east generally at about 45 to about 50 miles per hour. So we'll do east-southeast a little bit. So this will be getting into Dodgeville at about 6:37. The time right now is 6:21. So you still have some time before this storm reaches you. We're getting into parts of western Dane County, the Mount Horeb area, right around 7 o'clock. A lot of this starting to reach Madison as we get towards about 7:24. However, we do have that cell in northern Dane County that will likely reach Madison in the next little bit. If it hasn't already, I heard a little rumble of thunder just a little bit ago here at the station on the west side of town. So let's take a closer look at the broader scope of things as we're watching all of these storms moving through. Again, we have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings, but also multiple tornado warnings at this point in time, and a whole lot of lightning as well. So things are about to really get active in Madison. You saw all of that lightning there. Again, severe thunderstorm warning including Columbia, Dane, Iowa, and Sauk County. That runs until 6:30. There's that second one for the rest of Iowa County that runs until 7 o'clock tonight. We do also have that flash flood warning for much of Sauk County. That does include Baraboo. That runs until about 9:15 this evening. So multiple additional rounds of heavy rain headed towards you in Sauk County. I did also see some pictures from viewers that we're working on getting up for you, showing some flooding in campgrounds in parts of Sauk County. That is also something we're watching pretty closely. Tornado warning continues for northern Dane County until 6:30 this evening. Time right now is 6:22, so still have some time on that one. It does look like we're now just getting a second severe thunderstorm warning there that extends into the rest of southwestern Dane County, we'll say, and then into parts of Greene County as well. That's right on the edge of Monroe and then up into New Glarus. That severe thunderstorm warning there. Let's see how long that one runs until. Looks like the National Weather Service is taking some time to get that information out here, Brian.
Yeah, and that's the area we were watching, Amanda. We were concerned that that storm was going to move more north and eastward, while the northern storms are kind of moving south and eastward, and that's indicative of the rotating winds that we have around the area. So again, now southwestern Dane County and western portions of Greene County, we do have that severe thunderstorm warning in place for you, and that's going to be for the potential of 60 to 65 mile-an-hour winds, and there is the potential of a quick spin-up tornado. These storms have been broadly rotating, and if they get their act together, they could produce what would be a tornado. We, again, need to watch this cell very closely. While Amanda was talking, I was looking at this cell just west of Dubuque and west of Grant County. It has some pretty impressive rotation with it. I want to give you that first alert into southern Grant County. You may be going under another warning here fairly soon, so you need to keep a very close eye on the forecast. You may be thinking, I'm going to get outside and start cleaning out the pieces from the first storm that came through. I wouldn't do it yet, and I would be prepared to perhaps take action again as that storm moves in your direction. You can see we're now starting to blanket warning with severe thunderstorm warnings as this becomes more of a line, and that typically indicates very strong winds that would be a potential with the embedded risk of a tornado. Anytime you get these storms that are kind of standalone or discrete supercells, as we would call them, that would be a more significant risk of a tornado, and that's kind of what we have with these cells down to the south, and why I'm a little more concerned with this one that'll be crossing the Mississippi. You get more to the north, and these are kind of congealing into a significant blob of storms and crazy amounts of rainfall that are falling out of this. Also, leading to the flash flood warnings. But we have generally been replacing these with severe thunderstorm warnings. So overall, with this main line, it looks like it's going to be more of a widespread damaging straight line wind threat. We will keep an eye on any notches embedded in this that would be more concerning for a tornado. The greatest risk for a developing tornado does look to be in the southern portions of Grant County. So we will continue to watch that one closely as we monitor this whole line. I do want to throw the hail up real quick because we have been developing a little bit of some hail in the strongest portion of this line, now into northern and northwestern portions of Dane County, also southern portions of Columbia. It's not huge, pea to maybe quarter-size hail. As Amanda was saying, we're not really in an environment that can produce large hail. It is so hot and humid, and while we may be building that hail way up in the atmosphere, it is melting significantly by the time it reaches the ground. But it is a concern for perhaps up to quarter-size hail as that storm moves off to the east, but not the main threat, as that main threat will continue to be the very gusty winds. So let's zoom back in here again and see if we can see any areas that are more concerning than others. Very messy on our velocity tracker right now, but you can see that we do have these little gustier areas, especially where you see those brighter blues showing up. That's where we would have the potential of winds in excess of 60 miles an hour. Dane down the Wanakee, Cross Plains, Middleton, you're going to be next in line for this. Mazomanie, you're into the heart of it right now, up towards Prairie du Sac. This is heading towards Madison and points northward. That would include the airport, and then eventually eastward over I-3990 towards Sun Prairie. Marshall, you're all going to be next in line for this as we head towards 6:30, 6:45 tonight, and probably even into the 7 o'clock hour, as all of these storms have to work their way through southern Wisconsin. So let's zoom this back out once again and show you the storms that are moving through the area, and just incredible amounts of lightning and rain again. Again, I don't know if we can get any of the cameras that we have here on our DOT system heading between Madison and the Dells. I would be very interested to see how reduced the visibility is in that area and how treacherous the conditions are. That's another good reminder that if you don't have to drive right now, maybe just stay at home for the next couple of hours, let these storms work through, and then maybe get on with your evening plans, because there's a good chance you're going to be impacted by the rain, maybe reduced visibility, flooding becoming a concern. We have a couple flash flood warnings, and again, the embedded risk of the very gusty winds and tornadoes as we push towards 7 o'clock tonight. All going to be impacting us for the next couple hours. I think it's going to be after 9 o'clock by the time this exits our area, gets to Milwaukee, and starts pushing over Lake Michigan. So we have a few more hours here that southern Wisconsin may be under the gun from severe weather, and why we'll be continuing to monitor it here in the First Alert Weather Center. Of course, we have meteorologist Amanda Morgan joining us as well. Amanda, I know you've been keeping a close eye on things. Anything kind of standing out to you this evening?
Yeah, I did mention that viewer report that we had of close to baseball size hail. I believe this is the picture from them. This is from Chelsea in Blackhawk. I don't know if that's quite baseball size, but it's definitely larger than golf ball size, maybe close to hen egg sized hail. So we haven't had a lot of reports of that large hail, but an isolated large hail report coming in from Chelsea in Blackhawk. If you do have any reports to send us, if you're seeing any flooding, any large hail, or any tree damage near you, you can send us those pictures at WMTV15news.com. Of course, we want you to do that after the storms have passed, if possible. Our main priority is keeping you safe and making sure you are sheltered and in your house when these storms are happening. But as you're heading out after these storms have passed, we would appreciate any of those storms that you can send us. I do want to take another look at some of our flooding alerts that are coming in. The National Weather Service in La Crosse, which covers our far western counties, has now issued some additional alerts for flooding in parts of Vernon into Crawford and the rest of Sauk County as well. So I'm just temporarily going to turn off those tornado and severe thunderstorm warnings just so we can get a better look at some of those other flood warnings that are coming in. Those tornado warnings do take priority on our system here. So just in from the National Weather Service, we still have that flash flood warning for much of Sauk County. There have been reports of 2 to 3 or more inches of rain in just the past few hours. But now we also have that flash flood warning for Alameda County, which is in northern Iowa, but then into Crawford, Richland, and parts of Vernon County as well. That also runs until 9:15 this evening. The National Weather Service has said there's been some debris on some roads that's coming in from emergency management in some of those areas, and also some flooding in some of those areas as well. So if you live in any of these areas highlighted in green, or if you're in that flood advisory in parts of Crawford and Richland County, which is kind of overlapped by that flash flood warning, you want to keep a close eye on where you're driving around later this evening, maybe after those storms have passed. Keep an eye on those road conditions. Now, Brian has started to mention a little bit more the wind threat that we're starting to see from some of these storms. And I want to emphasize how dangerous those strong winds can be as our soil is as saturated as it is. So this is our wind strength. If we have winds close to 60 to 70 miles per hour, that can usually uproot trees and maybe down some power lines. But had 50 mile per hour winds with really saturated soil after all of the rain that we've already gotten so far this week, that can really loosen up the soil around those roots. Think of clay when it's wet versus clay when it has been fired and it's solid. That wet clay is a lot more malleable, and it's a lot easier for things to be pulled out of that wet dirt. So trees will be a lot more easily uprooted when we have that soil as wet as it is right now, thanks to all of the rain that we've gotten, really that torrential rain that we've been seeing through the last couple of hours here, but really through much of this week. We've had a lot of rain here, Brian.
Yeah, and I think that's a very valid point that we've been talking about now for a little bit. What normally may take 60+ mile-an-hour winds to bring a tree down may only take 50 mile-an-hour winds today. Couple things have progressed here while Amanda was talking. We've canceled most of the tornado warnings, although we need to watch the cell moving out of, moving into southern Grant County. There have been reports of a wall cloud and possible funnel cloud trying to rotate down there. So southern Grant County, I'm going to be watching you. And then new tornado warning has been issued for northern portions of Dane County and southern portions of Columbia County. Around the DeForest area, we are looking at some rotation that has developed, so I want to take you in here and show you the very latest on what has prompted that additional tornado warning. And here it is. You can see a little bit of an inflow notch here, and also a peak of some gustier winds. This is about to cross over I-3990 here and moving towards the Leeds area. So Wanakee, Sun Prairie leads this area here, kind of traversing Columbia and Dane County, the county line itself. That's where we are going to be watching for a potential tornado that's moving through the area. Again, this is the interstate right here, I-3990, with that rotation looking to be strongest as we look in that area right there. So what's going on is we have some rotation moving there and then some rotation moving back in this direction. I don't know if we have any live look of some DOT cameras in that area, but I would be very interested to see. I-3990, 94 at Wisconsin 60, it looks like. Yeah, torrential downpours coming down. This is near the Lodi area. You can see some people in the corner of your screen there slowing down, pulling over, and just not having a great time on the roadways as the storm moves in your direction. So this is looking a little more concerning than we've had over the past 30 minutes or so. We are seeing this kind of bulge out a little bit, and there's a little bit of an inflow notch kind of in this area right here. So that's the area we need to keep a very close eye on, and what has prompted this new tornado warning. So I-3990 is here. Here's Highway 51. This area just to the north and east of Wanakee is directly in the path of this potential developing tornado situation. We will see if we end up getting kind of any confirmed reports of this on the ground. Not seeing anything that's completely standing out on debris tracker, but we are seeing a little bulge in the wind there and a little bit of an inflow that could be indicative of a potential tornado forming embedded in this line of thunderstorms that is moving through the area. So again, new tornado warning. That does include northern portions of Dane, southern portions of Columbia, around the DeForest area, and points eastward, north and eastward. That's where we are going to be looking at that best chance of a potential tornado moving in our direction. Amanda, have they spotted anything in that vicinity?
No, I haven't seen any reports coming in out of northern Dane or southern Columbia County, but something I do want to show you, we were just talking about hail a minute ago. The hail signature has really increased in parts of Dane County. This is just south of Waunakee, just north of Madison. Now, if I move the clock back just a little bit, you can see how that cell has kind of evolved. Notice as it just started to move towards Cross Plains, you saw some small hail there, but then that cell really intensifies. So not great news. The more hail that's produced, that usually means a stronger updraft, usually indicating a stronger thunderstorm in general. So our system has been guessing at about ping pong ball sized hail just south of Waunakee. So this is just north of Madison here. We'll zoom in even more. Springfield, Westport, just north of Middleton, headed towards Maple Bluff. Could get in on some pretty large hail in the next little bit here, as well as a whole lot of lightning. Our system is just overloaded by the amount of lightning here. You can see estimating close to 650 lightning strikes right now. But again, we do have that tornado warning for northern Dane County and southern Columbia County. We'll turn off the lightning so you can see that just a little bit better here. Let's put a cone on this and kind of estimate those arrival times as it's continuing to move off towards the east. So generally these storms have been moving at about 45 miles per hour. We'll put on the velocity so we can really pinpoint that area of rotation and then get a better lead time on this storm as it's moving. So we'll put that on here, moving off towards the east. This will be getting into East Bristol at about 6:50. The time right now is 6:35. So you still have some time in East Bristol. You also have time in York. That will be getting towards you at about 6:56, into Columbus around 7, and then into Elba just after the top of the hour. So we will continue with this tornado warning. I believe that runs for quite some time now. So we will continue to stay with that tornado warning as that velocity signature is looking pretty concerning here, Brian.
I couldn't agree more, Amanda. That does look to have a notch with it. It needs to be watched very, very closely. While you were talking about that potential tornado, we had a new tornado warning that was issued, and now this is for eastern portions of Lafayette and now into western portions of Greene County. This going until 7:15 this evening. This is also for the potential of some quarter-size hail. So here we go again, east of Darlington to New Glarus down to Monroe. This is the area we need to keep a very close eye on of what could possibly be that tornado on the ground. We were talking about that other storm threat into Dane County. This is I-3990 near DeForest. We have on the left-hand side of your screen there, you can see cars pulling over, the camera shaking violently, and just not a good situation for those on the roadway right now. Again, I cannot emphasize enough, if you don't need to be on the roads this evening, don't be. It's just not worth taking a risk driving in these extremely treacherous conditions of flooding, potential tornadoes, near zero visibility, and whatever else these storms may be throwing at us as we move into the next hour or so. Again, you can see cars really backing up there. That's from the tornado warning Amanda was talking about into northern portions of Dane, southern portions of Columbia. Just in the last 5 minutes, though, that new tornado warning for eastern, northeastern portions of Lafayette, northwestern portions of Greene County, Darlington to New Glarus down to Monroe. It's kind of in this area right here that we are looking at the potential of a tornado. So let's throw the velocity on here and see exactly what we're keeping an eye on. I do want to zoom in here just a little bit more because there is something that looks like it's trying to develop here. Extreme northeastern portions of Lafayette County, Wyoda, northward towards Argyle, Lamont. This is looking to be the area where we might have that rotation developing. Radar indicated at this point. Remember, this is the same cell that did produce a tornado into southern Grant County about an hour ago at this point, and meaning it does have the history of producing a tornado. It's also more to the south of the main line. The ingredients are more favorable through extreme southern Wisconsin for the potential of a tornado developing. So it's this area right here we need to keep a close eye on. Of course, this warning extends into northwestern portions of Greene County. You have a couple minutes to get into your safe spot if you live in Greene County. If you live into eastern portions of Lafayette County, especially towards the Argyle area, get into your tornado safe place immediately and be prepared for what could be this tornado heading towards your direction. If there was a tornado on the ground, it would be somewhere in this area right here and kind of moving directly towards the Argyle area right now. I want to put the velocity in motion here and kind of show you the last hour. And you can see that we do have that rotation that started just west of Darlington and has now gotten its act together just a little bit more as it now moves towards Argyle northward. I believe it's Highway 78 here as we push towards 640 this evening. This one looks concerning as well. We now have 2 tornado warnings that are looking a little more concerning than the past couple of ones we've had through the afternoon. That one that Amanda was talking about into northern Dane, southern Columbia, and also now the one into eastern portions of Lafayette and northwestern portions of Greene County. Both of these tornado warnings are looking a little more significant for perhaps producing a tornado. So we should be taking them a little bit more seriously. In between those, severe thunderstorm warning, as I said earlier, treat all warnings this afternoon like a tornado warning just to play it safe, as we may be seeing these quick spin up tornadoes continuing to really be a threat as we move through the next couple of hours. Amanda, have you seen any new information coming out on either of these tornado warnings that we are mentioning?
Yeah, I've been scrolling on Twitter. There are some storm spotters that are on Twitter that are out and about, especially into parts of southwestern Wisconsin. Connor Croft reported, and he has a picture here. It looks like a quick tornado that spun up just west of Darlington. That was around 6:30, so that was about 10 minutes ago. But that is an indication that this cell that is in Lafayette County and now moving into Greene County could potentially still have a tornado with it, or could be continuing to have the potential to produce a tornado. So this is just moving into the Argyle area. This is south of Blanchard, north of Wyoda as well. This is now east of Darlington. So Darlington, you are out of the line of fire with this little cell. But the one that we are really keeping an eye, or the area that we're really keeping an eye on, is right in between Lamont and Argyle. There we see all that cluster of colors, those darker greens, some purples and blues. Those are winds moving in different directions. And when we get those winds in different directions, that causes the rotation. And that is what we're looking at here. And we're looking at that velocity tracker here in parts of Lafayette County, moving into, again, parts of Greene County. But of course, we're also keeping a close eye on that cell that is in northern Dane County, right near DeForest right now. It does look like it still has a little bit of a hook on it. You can see where those reds are starting to wrap around those greens just a little bit. That is some broader rotation in the atmosphere, Brian.
Yeah, Amanda, and real concerning now, it looks like, for that tornado warning we were tracking down into eastern Lafayette and western Greene. I believe right here is a tornado debris signature. I think this is a tornado on the ground right now, just to the west of Argyle. You need to be taking this extremely seriously if you live in this area right here, Argyle and just west. This looks like a tornado debris signature. This looks like a tornado is on the ground right here. This is a tornado. You need to be in your safe place immediately. This is moving towards Argyle and is going to cross into northwestern portions of Greene County as we move through the next 20 or 30 minutes. So again, something we need to keep a very close eye on, and this tornado warning will be going until 7:15. As I said that, you can see that the source of this tornado warning is now observed, and we were just tracking that on the radar. We saw it with the tornado debris signature. A tornado on the ground now for northeastern portions of Lafayette County and soon to be moving into northwestern portions of Greene County. This is an observed tornado. Again, tornado on the ground now for eastern portions of Lafayette, around the Argyle area, and soon to be moving into Lafayette County. Take this very seriously. Get into your emergency shelter immediately. The threat on this is rather considerable. I'm seeing here on that threat index. Amanda, is there any more information on the considerable threat associated with this tornado warning? I know we do have that tornado on the ground. Is there any more specific information on that?
The National Weather Service has said they have confirmed a large and extremely dangerous tornado located over Argyle. That is a quote from the National Weather Service, a large and extremely dangerous tornado. So right near Argyle, or 11 miles east of Darlington. This is moving east at about 30 miles per hour. So I've put a tracker on this for you. Argyle, you need to be in your safe place right now. That is the lowest part of your home, or the most interior part of your home. That can be the basement, ideally. If you don't have a basement, that would be a closet, a pantry, a bathroom, anywhere as far away from windows as possible. This will be getting towards Schultz at about 7:14, and then continuing to move through parts of northern Greene County. It does look like this should stay just north of Monroe. This is a really concerning situation. So again, I'm going to pull up those safe places just to reiterate this for you. If you're in a house, ideally you should be in the basement. If you're in an apartment building, if you live on an upper level, if you can, try to get into the interior most part of your home or of your apartment. But if you don't have time to get into into a lower level, that interior room is the best place to be. If you happen to be watching us online, you're out and about in a business, make sure you are getting into a storage closet, talk to some employees, and make sure you are in a safe place. Again, the National Weather Service has said they have confirmed a large and extremely dangerous tornado that is on the ground right now near Argyle.
Yeah, Amanda, we've been watching this for quite some time. I was just looking at some of the winds. It looks like the winds associated with this tornado that is on the ground, perhaps between about 80 and 100 miles an hour from our velocity tracker here. Again, confirmed tornado on the ground around the Argyle area. I do want to throw the debris tracker back on real quick and show you that we can track where that tornado is. Where you have the solid red and maroon here, that's just general precipitation that's coming down. Our debris detection software, what it does, it's seeing whatever's in the atmosphere that is not uniform, what is perhaps not a raindrop or a hailstone, but what might be some debris being lofted up in the form of maybe some grass, some kind of wood, other debris that may be not what the radar is typically seeing. And we are seeing that very clearly on the radar here. This is a classic tornado debris signature right in this area. You see that spike there that goes from precipitation to what is likely non-precipitation and debris being lofted up. So this is right around the Argyle area to maybe just north of Argyle itself. You need to be in your tornado safe place immediately. We cannot emphasize enough that this is a tornado on the ground. It is perhaps a pretty significant tornado that has developed and is on the ground now. Here's Highway 78, I believe, that is going to be heading northward towards Blanchardville. If you are familiar with this area, if you're familiar with where it turns into Greene County, you're next in line. Greene County, get into your tornado safe place immediately. You have a couple minutes to do so, but this tornado is looking to head in your direction here as we head into the next couple of minutes. And again, it does look like we have a very tight couplet here on the radar. You can see the red and green indicating the whole storm is rotating. Here's the wall cloud, and then you get right in this area here, right around Argyle northward, and you get an even tighter rotation that has developed, and this is where the tornado is. So there's the tight couplet that we look for in terms of tornadoes and what is producing the tornado on the ground, and that lines up pretty nicely with where we have our tornado debris signature. That's exactly where we were looking at that tight rotation and what appears to be the tornado debris signature on our software right now. So unfortunately, we have developed what appears to be a pretty significant tornado heading to the east and northeast, and soon going to be moving through and east of Argyle and into northwestern portions of Greene County. So you do need to be on first alert there if you're living in that vicinity. Amanda, I know you've been keeping an eye on some of the reports coming in. Any new information on where that tornado might be and the strength of it?
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any new information from the National Weather Service, but they are also very concerned with that indication of radar that we're seeing there. But they are continuing that tornado warning for southern Columbia and northern Dane County. I don't want to forget about that tornado warning. This one is not confirmed. Again, this is for just near Sun Prairie into DeForest, Leeds. You are just on the edge of this, and into East Bristol as well. Wanakee, you're now out of the woods. DeForest, you're right on the edge of this tornado warning. And again, the area that we're watching for northern Dane County is now just to the east of DeForest and Lake Windsor, where you see those bright reds and greens very close to each other. That's that area of potential rotation that we're seeing in northern Dane County and southern Columbia County. So that warning that we have right now for northern Dane, southern Columbia runs until 7 o'clock. Time right now is 6:47. But of course, we are much more concerned with that southern cell that is moving through Lafayette County and into parts of Greene County. That is the confirmed tornado that we have from the National Weather Service. This tornado warning runs until 7:15 this evening. This is just north of Monroe, south of Blanchard. This includes Argyle. Argyle, this is right on top of you right now. You need to be in the safe place of your home. We're going to try to zoom in even more and see if we can get some little towns on here. Let's put up the velocity and see what we're looking at. This is right along County Road C, headed towards County Road M as well. This is really right on top of Argyle, unfortunately, where we see those dark greens and blues right by the Argyle sign. That is where we are seeing the strongest area of rotation, and as Brian has been saying, also that potential for some debris, which is some objects potentially being picked up by this tornado. So this is in Argyle, headed towards the east at about 30 miles per hour. So if you are in this line of thunderstorms, you need to be in your safe place. Again, this is right along County Road C. It looks to be headed really right along that road. So getting close to County Road M, it will soon be headed towards County Road J as well. Okay. It does also look like we're taking a look up into possibly parts of Sauk County. That is Interstate 3990 at Wisconsin 19. You can see all of the water on the roadways there. This is again I-3990. A lot of those cars driving through those flooded roadways. It looks like an overpass there that is in pretty bad shape there, Brian.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big concern. We were talking about this yesterday and today, and how we really haven't had any kind of flooding to deal with for a year or two with the ongoing drought we had. This is turning into what could be a secondary but major concern for the evening hours as we get through the severe weather. We're going to be dealing with flooding, and then heading into next week, I think we're going to be dealing with what could be some significant river flooding. While Amanda was talking, the severe thunderstorm warning was expanded for eastern Dane County, western Dodge, and western Jefferson County for, embedded in this line, the 60-mile-an-hour winds with perhaps a quick spin-up tornado in that area we were talking about northeast of DeForest now, and continuing to get a little bit closer to eastern Columbia and Dane County. So that's the strongest portion of that cell. Another very strong cell into Iowa County itself, also producing the perhaps wind gusts to 60 miles an hour. We're still watching this cell into Grant County. Did have a report around the Dickeyville area of some 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, which would be severe. So I would not be surprised to, at any moment, be seeing some type of warning issued for Grant County. But of most concern continues to be that cell as we get into portions of eastern Greene and, western Greene and eastern portions of Lafayette. That's where we've had that confirmed report of a tornado on the ground. A considerable threat is ongoing for the potential of debris being lofted up, and the winds, when we were looking at this a while ago, that could be anywhere from about 80 to 100 miles an hour. This was a confirmed tornado, radar confirmed. We were seeing it on our debris tracker with that debris ball being clearly shown, and it looks like now that threat is going to be moving out of Lafayette County and more so into western Greene County. So if you do live in Argyle and eastern portions of Lafayette County, stay in your tornado safe place for probably another 5-10 minutes, but it does look like that risk is going to be moving eastward in the next little bit here, and we're going to be looking at the threat primarily being for western portions of Greene County. Now, this will be north of Monroe, and again, if you live near the state line, you haven't had much to worry about through Lafayette and Greene County, South Wayne, Gratiot. You're okay, nothing going on there. It's north of that region, north of Monroe, east of Darlington, and now east of Argyle that we're going to continue to watch things closely. Last couple radar scans here. This looks a little messy, in my opinion. It's hard to see exactly what's going on. This is not a great area of radar coverage as you get into southern Grant, Lafayette, and Greene County, just due to the fact of where this storm is. So we're relying a lot on some of the reports coming in, and hopefully one of the scans coming in here soon will be a little bit better on what exactly is going on. But again, that tornado warning continues for eastern Lafayette, western Greene County for that confirmed tornado. We're continuing to deal with very gusty winds through Dane County, Columbia, now western Dodge and Jefferson, and what appears to be some stronger cells now into southern Grant County. It's just a plethora of warnings that have been issued this afternoon, and as Amanda was touching on earlier, once the storms move through, you will be left with a lot of rain. We have the flash flood warnings for portions of Crawford, Vernon, Richland, and Sauk, where the storms have now moved out of your area, but it's going to be quite some time until that rain water recedes and you're not left with too much in the way of concern. So coming up on 6:53 now, if you are just tuning in, we've been covering these severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings for a couple of hours now, and we are not out of the woods yet. But the transition from areas north and west of Madison to south and east will be the area that we keep a closer eye on over the next couple of minutes. And just coming in, it looks like new severe thunderstorm warnings for northern portions of Lafayette, Greene, and also northwestern portions of Rock. So those of you that were into Rock County and Walworth and Jefferson, you were like, what's going on? It's still sunny, it's hot, it's humid. The time is coming soon that these storms will head in your direction. So a first alert to be prepared to take action if and when these storms move in your direction. Right now, we do have that new severe thunderstorm warning just issued to include parts of those counties. Amanda, do you have any new data on what that's going to be for? I'm assuming some 60-mile-an-hour winds.
Per hour winds is the main concern with that area in southern Dane County. I do want to draw your attention to northern Dane County, where we have a lot of large hail just to the north and east of Madison. This is headed towards Sun Prairie, or even getting into Sun Prairie and just moving past the Maple Bluff area. There have been some reports of ping pong ball sized hail, and again, that is moving right towards Sun Prairie. You can kind of zoom back and kind of look at the track of that and move just to the south of Wanakee, just north of Madison. Maybe got some larger hailstones in parts of downtown, but it looks like the worst of that hail core might have missed Madison proper, and then that continues to move towards Sun Prairie, and it looks like Cottage Grove, you will just miss out on that large hail. So that is really the only area of large hail that we're seeing. Maybe some small hail in parts of Iowa, and then down into right on the border of Lafayette and Iowa County. That's where we have that really strong thunderstorm that has been confirmed to have produced a tornado. Take a closer look at that. Sometimes hail can be an indication of the strongest part of thunderstorms. If we put the hail back on here, it does look like that is just to the east of Wyoda. And if we put the rotation back on, it looks like that rotation has started to move past that. So maybe a little bit of small hail left over from that thunderstorm that's moving through. But again, still that tornado warning now moving out of Lafayette County and into parts of western Greene County. This will be headed towards Monticello. Unfortunately, we don't have any new information coming in from the National Weather Service right now on what they're seeing with that cell that's moving through Greene County. But as Brian was saying, it does look like there's a chance that rotation is getting a little bit weaker. Notice I'm zooming back to about 6:40 when that warning was shortly issued. You see some of those brighter reds, some greens, and some purples. And if we go forward to where we are right now, you don't see those purples, you don't see those bright reds. So that could mean that that rotation is getting a little bit weaker. That doesn't mean you shouldn't take it seriously. That is just somewhat possibly good news for us and what we're seeing as meteorologists. But still, if you are in northwestern Greene County near Monticello, you should be in your safe place. This is just to the south of Postville, headed towards the Schultz area. And again, this is moving past Argyle. So Argyle, you will be in the clear in the next little bit here. I do expect that the National Weather Service will likely expire that tornado warning for Lafayette County and just move it into Greene County. But as of right now, it would still be a good idea to stay into your safe place. We can zoom out just a little bit more and take a broader look at all of these storms. A lot of lightning about to head into Dodge and Jefferson counties, where they've been relatively quiet so far today. So some areas starting to quiet things down here, Brian, while others are just starting to get into the thick of it.
Yeah, and Amanda, I've been watching that storm that was just west of the Mississippi, just west of Dubuque and Guttenberg, and this has now prompted a new tornado warning for southern portions of Grant County. This is going to be extreme southern portions of Grant County, so we need to keep a very close eye on this system as well. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here. This goes until 7:15 this evening, 6:57, so we have about 18 minutes left here of this tornado warning impacting your area. Now, this is going to be just south of that tornado we had earlier in the Platteville, Westward Potosi area. So this now includes extreme southern Grant County, Hazel Green. We're going to be looking at this potentially impacting you. Cuba City, this is going to potentially be impacting you, and this is going to include Dubuque and just west of the Mississippi there. If you're familiar with this area, the bridge there across the Mississippi, this is where that tornado is tracking right now, or potential tornado. This is a radar indicated one. So let's throw our velocity tracker on here and look at what's developing, and if we're seeing anything that we need to watch extra close. Now, is this storm rotating? Absolutely. You can see an area of red and green there. So we are seeing the storm rotating. Fortunately, it doesn't look to be a super tight couplet associated with this cell, but it bears watching because this storm, as it was to the west, did did have a rotating wall cloud. It did have a funnel cloud, and there was a potential tornado back to the west as well. So we need to watch this very closely. We also have general gusty winds associated with this. It did produce some winds in the Dickeyville area around 60 miles an hour, and this is just beginning to cross the Mississippi River, and what's going to impact extreme southern portions of Grant County. This is what I was talking about earlier. You may have wanted to get outside and do some cleanup from that initial storm. I didn't recommend it because there was a second one heading in your direction, and sure enough, it has prompted an additional tornado warning for extreme southern Grant County until 7:15 this evening. Here's 151. There's where you cross the river, and this goes up. So 151 down towards Dubuque in the Mississippi. That's going to be the area we need to watch extremely closely in the next 5-10 minutes. Does look like that's going to be crossing the Mississippi momentarily and then becoming only a southern Grant County risk as we push towards 7 o'clock tonight, which is just in the next minute or two. We'll throw our debris tracker up here to see if we're seeing anything of concern. We'll see if a couple more scans come in here that show anything. The rotation looks to be right along the Mississippi. There's something trying to form, it looks like, in that vicinity, so we'll see if that threat continues. Overall, though, going to be looking at the threat of 60-mile-an-hour winds, not really any hail associated with this at the moment, all of which is moving pretty much due to the east. So a very tight warning for Grant County, but one to be taken seriously. But it is also a reminder that if you live in the central and northern Grant County, you are not under this tornado warning at the present time. So that is a little bit of good news. Southern Grant County is where it's at. Let's zoom back out here because we have a slew of warnings that continue for the region. The 2 tornado warnings are for Grant County, and then that cell through eastern portions of Lafayette and western Greene. That is really becoming a Greene County issue. I suspect Lafayette County, you're going to be out of this tornado warning pretty quickly. And then as this line kind of congeals more into one solid line, there are the potential of wind gusts 60+ miles an hour now through Lafayette, Rock, Dane, and now beginning to push towards Dodge and Jefferson counties. So everyone under the gun here, not to mention the torrential rainfall that is occurring and the risk of trees coming down much easier than they would on a normal day where we haven't had just tons of rain day after day. And flash flooding, of course, going to be another major concern as we move through the afternoon and now into the evening hours. Amanda, I know you've been keeping an eye on this. It does look like they just canceled that tornado warning for eastern Lafayette, which is a little bit of good news.
Yeah, so eastern Lafayette, you are now just in a severe thunderstorm warning. Argyle is out of that tornado warning. So now the current tornado warning is just for north central Greene County. That's north of Monroe. Jordan, you are just to the south of this. This does include Exeter, I believe that's how you might say that. Excuse me if that's incorrect, but this tornado warning is continued until 7:15 this evening. So another 14 minutes of that tornado warning. Now I have been scrolling through some reports coming out on Twitter or X. Storm reporter Corey Hartman has seen some damage in northwest Argyle. It does look like everyone who lived at the residence is okay. From the picture that he posted, it does look like just shed or barn damage was done there, but that is an unfortunate an unfortunate indication that that could potentially have been a strong tornado that moved through Argyle and could potentially be holding together into parts of Greene County. Let's take a closer look at the velocity in Greene County. Again, it's not as clear as what it was, but we do have some more reds showing up, some stronger winds coupled with those brighter blues, strong winds moving in the opposite direction. So again, different winds in different directions, that is what causes that rotation. So zoom in even more so we can get a closer look on the exact location of this. This has been traveling right along County Road C. This is moving almost directly due east, so Monticello. This is about to get towards you. Schultz, this is very close to you as well. You are right on the edge of that tornado warning. So we'll continue with this until 7:15 this evening. We are also getting some reports of flash flooding from the National Weather Service that has been reported in parts of Dane County. I believe that was in Wanakee. Looks like someone reported some flooding on Moravian Road or Moravian Valley Road in Wanakee, if you know where that is. So let's take a look at Dane County. We do now have a flash flood warning in place for northern Dane County. So we'll take a look at some of these warnings. We'll turn off the lightning, and I will temporarily turn off that tornado warning that has now just been confined to far northeastern Dane County and into southern Columbia County. That does include Columbus, but for the time being, I just want to focus on the strong heavy downpours that we've seen through the past little bit here. So we do have a flash flood warning in place for northern Dane County. That runs until 9:30 this evening. That includes Columbia County. Most of Sauk County is also included in one of those. And that continues off towards the west as well into much of Crawford, southern Vernon, and into Richland County. So a lot of heavy rain. Good news, it does look like the thunderstorms are now moving out of those areas, but still a lot of heavy rain has fallen in just a short amount of time. And I do know some people are asking about that cell that is in northern Dane, right near Sun Prairie. Sun Prairie, it looks like you might be out of the woods on this one. That tornado warning is now just to the northeast of you. This is just north of Waterloo as well. York, you are in this tornado warning. This is headed towards Columbus as well. We'll turn the velocity back on and see what we're seeing. We don't have a ton of bright greens, but still some brighter reds there that warrants watching. You can see a little bit of that rotation, those reds kind of curving around those greens a little bit, which could be an indication of some rotation that we're seeing in northern Dane County. We've also seen some reports of some pretty large hail there. So really 2 or 3 main cells, I should say, that we're watching here, Brian.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Amanda. And it did look a little bit threatening there. One of those last scans you were showing with that tornado warning for northeastern Dane County, southern Columbia. Couple things to note with the potential tornado threat this afternoon. Along this line, it's going to be what would likely be a quick spin-up tornado. You get a little notch in the main line of storms. You get down to the south of this line and these cells that are not fully engulfed with the line yet. That's where you're going to have a better chance of seeing a stronger, longer-lived tornado and cells that are more discreet and more on their own. And there's a better environment for tornadoes as well as you get down into northern Illinois and southern portions of Wisconsin. And it does look like we've extended that tornado warning now to include eastern and east central portions of Greene County. And that's going to be between Monroe and New Glarus, heading towards the Evansville area eventually if it holds together into Rock County. But again, it does appear that tornado warning just expanded to go until about 7:30 tonight. That's going to be 25 more minutes. Just to the south of New Glarus, north of Monroe, we are seeing that rotation. The storm has been a little messy looking on the radar. It's been a little difficult to exactly see what's going on, but it does appear there is a potential of rotation and the potential of that tornado being on the ground here as well. This is back to a radar indicated tornado. Remember, we had what may have been a quick but rather significant tornado around the Argyle area. The storm weakened a little bit. It has now moved into Greene County. It's still rotating. It appears it may be trying to get its act together again, and that means we need to watch it very closely for the potential of this producing a second tornado as it moves off to the east. It's also developing a pretty significant hail core moving through the central portion of Greene County as well. And that is also an indication that the storm is gaining perhaps a little bit of strength and getting its act together a little bit more. So we need to keep a close eye on that. I want to head back up to that cell into northeastern Dane County and take a look at the velocity one more time. As we were looking at it with Amanda, it did look like it was trying to get its act together as well. Looks like a new flash flood warning coming out. We'll talk about that in a minute. Here would be the potential rotation. You can see that this is not kind of a uniform line of the green and the red as we move north to south. So we have this little bit of an inflow here and these little notches that can always be the potential of a tornado. So we're looking at a little notch there, a little notch there. Areas that may be trying to get some kind of rotation. As mentioned, up to the north here, these would likely be quick spin-up tornadoes that may only be on the ground a couple minutes, and then they could lift up. That notch may form a little bit to the north or south, and then it could drop again. So be in your safe place if you live, let's say, around Sun Prairie, just northward, north of Marshall towards Columbus. It seems like all these storms just traveling up 151 here. So this will take it towards Columbus and eventually Beaver Dam if it holds together, at least in the rotation part. But it does look like the best chance of that rotation is going to be right through northeastern portions of Dane County. Debris tracker, fortunately, not showing anything that is indicating that the tornado is on the ground. It is absolutely rotating and absolutely needs to be watched pretty closely. Okay, let's zoom it on back out here and take a look at what's happening again. And we do have that tornado warning for southern Grant County and also eastern portions of Lafayette County. Amanda, I know you have something new coming in.
Yeah, emergency management in parts of Grant County, I believe from Dickeyville, are saying they are seeing some rotation with this thunderstorm in far southern Grant County. Yes, that is from the Dickeyville Fire Department, relayed by emergency management. This would be just west of Dickeyville, so that is where we have that tornado warning right now. And that is, again, seeing some rotation in that area. So this is just to the west of Hazel Green, just south of Jamestown there. So that is what we're watching very closely. It does look like as that cell is moving into Lafayette County, the National Weather Service has just gone with a severe thunderstorm warning for now. But the National Weather Service is saying if you're in southern Lafayette County, if you're in Shullsburg, if you're in Gratiot, I would definitely stay in your safe place for now, maybe for the next hour or so as we watch for this storm to slowly move towards you, as it does have the history of at least some rotation that we're watching. And again, that tornado warning for southern Grant County until 7:15. It is 7:09 right now. That new severe thunderstorm warning for southern Lafayette County runs until 8 o'clock. And again, that is as that tornado warned cell continues to move off towards the east. And then we have that cell in northern Lafayette County that is also included in an additional severe thunderstorm warning that runs until 7:45 this evening. So a lot to watch here, Brian, but we want to make sure we're keeping a close eye on all of these cells that we're watching.
Yeah, this has turned into a pretty incredible afternoon, Amanda. Not one that we were hoping for, with the numerous tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, and a couple tornadoes that we did have confirmed. It appears so far this afternoon we have had 2 confirmed tornadoes, one of those between Potosi and Platteville, and another one around the Argyle area earlier this afternoon and evening, just indicating that these storms are capable of producing tornadoes. And it does appear we have a new one that has just been issued for extreme northeastern portions of Dane County and now extreme southwestern portions of Dodge and northwestern portions of Jefferson County. So let's take you in there and show you the very latest on the velocity and what might be a little bit of a tornado forming. This looks a little concerning around the Marshall area. There is a notch, and I'm seeing what appears to be maybe a more organized area of wind and rotation. This would be just to the south of Marshall, kind of going towards Marshall itself. Marshall, get in your tornado safe place immediately. This is Highway 73, County Road T. This looks a little more concerning to me on our velocity tracker. You can see kind of a spike there of some tighter rotation that has developed, and what could be a potential tornado on the ground. The debris tracker is a little messy. I want to wait for 1 or 2 more scans on that to see what comes in, but I do think this looks more concerning, and that's exactly why the National Weather Service in Milwaukee has just issued that tornado warning for northeastern portions of Dane County and northwestern portions of Jefferson County. Marshall, get in your tornado safe place. Waterloo, you're next in line. Lake Mills to Waterloo. That's going to be the area that this potential tornado tracks. This is another one that looks concerning. I would take this very seriously. It looks like a new radar scan just came in. This is looking very close to a tornado on the ground, if there's not one on the ground already, and something we need to look very closely here. Amanda, let me know if you get any reports that this is on the ground. I think we're very close to seeing that potential just in the Marshall area and pointing southward, and the potential of 60, 70 mile an hour winds moving in that area. I'll put the velocity on here and kind of track this for you. You can see just in the last couple of frames there, it really got its act together, and we're starting to see kind of that spin up there and the rotation really tightening up. So again, Marshall, I'm very concerned for your area and potentially seeing this tornado on the ground as we move towards 7:30 this evening, and why we did see that new tornado warning issued. That's in addition to the second tornado warning that's still in place for the extreme northeastern tip of Dane County and southeastern portions of Columbia County. And then we're just getting plummeted with this rain. It is going to be very, very difficult to see any type of tornado by going outside and looking at things. Don't do it. They're likely rain wrapped. They're likely not going to be visible, and you're going to be putting yourself in a dangerous situation. Stay inside, get into your tornado safe place, and take this very seriously as we move through the next couple of minutes. Amanda, what are your thoughts on that cell? That one looks a little concerning to me.
Yeah, it definitely looks very concerning. The National Weather Service is agreeing, saying it looks like that rotation is tightening. Now, what does that mean? That means those winds in different directions are rotating closer together, which means they can go a little bit faster. So potentially could create some stronger rotation, which could potentially equal a stronger tornado. So that is what we're watching just to the south of Marshall. This is moving just past Highway 73. This is just north of I-94, and this will be headed towards the Waterloo area. So trying to zoom in even more so we can get a closer look on this. If you are on Missouri Road near Madison Street in Marshall, close to Cherry Lane, this is very near you as well. Sherman Drive, this is all areas just south of Marshall. Make sure you are in your safe place. That is the interior-most room in your house, hopefully the lowest part of your house as well. Basement would be ideal. Bathroom, pantry, a closet also work as well. So make sure you are staying safe as this rotation is looking pretty concerning. If you put the hail on here, we do have a little bit of a hail core that's trying to get going. We can check in on that correlation, and that looks concerning as well. Just south of Marshall, that area where we're seeing some of those colors picking up, that could potentially be an area of debris. Debris meaning objects that are being picked up by this potential tornado and thrown around. So if you are in southern Marshall, if you are in Waterloo, you should be in your safe place as this potential tornado could be moving towards you, Brian.
Absolutely, Amanda. I wanted to see a couple more scans of that debris detection come in. This is no doubt in my mind that there is a tornado on the ground here. I think this is a tornado on the ground around the Marshall area moving towards Waterloo. This is Highway 19 here, 73. Get into your tornado safe place immediately. This looks to be what would be the third tornado of the afternoon and evening that has formed. There is no doubt in my mind this is a tornado on the ground. The last couple of scans here, you can see clearly that there is a debris ball here. This is not the same shading of that red or maroon color, indicating we're not seeing precipitation. We're seeing abnormalities in what is being picked up from the radar and sent back and what it's reflecting off of, and that is a strong indication of a tornado. And that's what's been the huge advancements in radar over the last decade. We don't necessarily have to rely on a tornado being seen, which we were talking about is going to be hard to do today because of the heavy rain. They're rain wrapped, but we can now get radar indicated tornadoes. That's exactly what we are seeing here into the Marshall area. And as I widen this out, you can see that our tornado warning is now observed. That means a tornado is on the ground. It is another considerable threat as it moves from Marshall to Waterloo and crosses out of Dane County and moves off to the east. So Marshall, you need to be in your tornado safe place. Waterloo, get there now. Do not go outside and try to find this. A considerable threat from this tornado. It has been observed. We are seeing a tornado debris signature associated with this right in this area, and this is very concerning and what is likely now the third tornado of the afternoon and of the evening. So let's zoom in here a little bit more and see if we can track some of these roads for you. This is going to be, I think, just to the south and southeast of downtown Marshall, of course, a little smaller town and city. So it may be just to your south, but if you're familiar with the area, get into that tornado safe place immediately. This is a tornado debris signature, Amanda, one that is very concerning. Are you getting any reports of what's coming in that area?
Unfortunately, the National Weather Service isn't giving us much new information other than adding that considerable damage tag and the observation to that tornado. They haven't said where exactly they are seeing what they are seeing, but they are highly confident that that tornado is on the ground. They've likely had a storm spotter call them or send them some pictures of that tornado. Now, I've zoomed this out just a little bit in case you're not as familiar with the area. This is all to the east of Madison and moving into eastern Dane County. So Sun Prairie, you are not in this. This is east of Cottage Grove, and this is starting to move into Jefferson County. So this is north of Jefferson. This will be headed towards Watertown. This is also north of Lake Mills. Lake Mills, you are not in the tornado warning. It's not a bad idea to still get into your safe places. You are very close to this. Johnson Creek is also just on the edge of this. So this is south of Marshall, where you see those two areas of bright colors. Those are winds, different directions. That is the area we are concerned about with that tornado. So that is moving now to the east of Marshall. That is right near Cherry Lane on Highway 89. That is moving towards Waterloo. Also Portland, you are very close to this as well. This is close to Highway 19, I believe, just south of Highway 19. So if you are in this area in far eastern Dane County, now moving into western Jefferson County, you need to be in your safe place. Boxelder Road, north of East Medina Road. This is all just near you. You should be in your safe place. Do not go outside. Make sure you are taking shelter from this observed tornado right now. Again, eastern Dane County and moving into western Jefferson County, Brian.
Yeah, Marshall to Waterloo, that is where that storm is, no doubt in my mind. I do want to give you a first alert if you live from Fitchburg, Oregon, down towards Albany to even Monroe and Broadhead. There have been a few notches and kind of upticks in the wind in this area. It's a severe thunderstorm warning for you right now with 60-mile-an-hour winds. I am concerned that one or two of these areas may get organized and may produce what would be a tornado. So get into your safe place. Treat that as a tornado warning as things look to be evolving to perhaps produce an additional tornado threat into southern Dane County, portions of Greene, and if it holds together, eventually Rock County. So that would be the area right in there. I want you to treat this as a tornado warning in this area right here, just because things are looking like they are getting a little more organized. But man, I tell you, that storm we've been tracking into northeastern Dane County from Marshall to Waterloo, that one looks textbook in terms of the velocity and our debris tracker we were looking at earlier, and it's not looking like it's weakening much at all. In fact, as we zoom in a little more here, you can really see the inflow with this storm just to the south of Waterloo there, really taking its way in and producing that rotation and what has been that tornado debris signature. And it still looks like we have that directly between the Marshall and Waterloo area. Highway 19, it's basically over you. If you travel from Marshall to Waterloo on 19, that's where the tornado is right now. Hopefully, we don't have too many people in that vicinity right now, and you're taking this very seriously for what is likely our third tornado of the day that has been confirmed in southern Wisconsin. This does not show signs of weakening at this point. It is moving a little to the east of Marshall. I think you're going to see improvement in the Marshall area in the next 5, 10, 15 minutes. Stay in your tornado safe place, but know that the worst is moving east toward Waterloo. Know that the worst is coming right towards you in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Be in that tornado safe place. Northern portions of Jefferson County, southern portions of Dodge, you need to be taking this very seriously as this tornadic cell is moving in your direction. We just got a new scan there on the velocity. And again, we're still seeing that inflow very prominent there as the storm moves east of Marshall now and a little closer to Waterloo and what has been that tornado warning. Want to widen things back out one more time here, see if we have any new warnings that we need to kind of keep an eye on. Good news for Grant County. That tornado warning has been allowed to expire, as we talked about earlier, was replaced with the severe thunderstorm warning for southern portions of Lafayette County. Still going to watch it closely as it has the potential of a quick spin up. And then we have general severe thunderstorm warnings for much of Greene, Rock, southern Dane County, and western portions of Jefferson County. This entire area has the potential of that quick spin up tornado. And again, I've been watching some of the cells in this area here from Fitchburg down to Oregon and down into New Glarus and points westward as we are considering or seeing what is some very gusty winds. But at the moment, the most significant cell continues to be that one moving towards the Waterloo area. Amanda, still looking very well defined on our radar, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would say that cell that's now moving into northwestern Jefferson County looking very concerning. I've zoomed out the radar a bit so we can keep an eye on both of those tornado warnings. We do have still for northeastern Dane County that tornado warning still in place for you, but With this velocity, you can kind of see the difference between these cells that we're watching. How much stronger that rotation looks, those brighter greens, those brighter reds, just to the east of Marshall, as opposed to what we're seeing in York. If you are in York or in Columbus, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be in your safe place, but that is why we are so especially concerned with what is moving out of eastern Dane County, moving out of Marshall and into parts of Jefferson County. So I'm going to zoom in again. This is headed right towards Waterloo, if not happening already in Waterloo. So we are zooming in here. Unfortunately, we don't have quite as many road names to give you in the Waterloo area, but this is just south of Portland, right along 89 and 19, kind of where those roads come together, it looks like, is where we're seeing this. This is right near Waterloo in far northwestern Jefferson County. So again, north of Lake Mills, northwest of Johnson Creek. This will be headed towards Watertown in the next little bit here as this continues to move towards the east. It's been moving pretty slowly, only at about 20 miles per hour. So that does unfortunately mean this can also do a decent amount of damage as it moves very, very slowly through this part of Jefferson County. We'll pull the correlation back up on here, and we are still seeing that right near Waterloo, where you see those oranges, yellows, and greens, as opposed to that darker maroon color. That is our system picking up on some different objects in the atmosphere. Our system is able to know that is not rain and that is not hail. That could be maybe some wood, some tree limbs that are being picked up. Hopefully not any pieces of building in parts of Waterloo there. Again, this is just south of the Waterloo area. So we're going to zoom back out again, give you a better look at what we're watching. Again, all of this is starting to move off towards the east. So if you are in Juneau, Adams County, Sauk County, things starting to quiet down for you. Still some rain there, but we are continuing to watch this now moving into our eastern counties. We'll take off the lightning so you can get a better look here. Grant County still getting in on some thunderstorms. You see that moving into far southern Grant County, just south of Prairie du Chien there. You can see an additional little thunderstorm, not warned, but a little thunderstorm moving towards you. Crawford County, Vernon County, some showers there, maybe some flashes of lightning, but nothing strong at this time. And this will all be headed into Walworth County. Walworth, you've been pretty quiet so far this evening. This is all headed in your direction. This is all very slowly moving towards the east, starting to move through again eastern Dane County, and now moving into parts of Dodge, Jefferson, and to parts of Rock County. Starting to see some severe thunderstorm warnings there as well, Brian.
Yep, couldn't agree more, Amanda. I think this cell that prompted the tornado warning for Marshall and Waterloo, it's kind of cycling. We may be seeing the tornado risk around the Waterloo area weakening just a little bit. There's still the potential of a tornado there, but it seems as we may be seeing a new area of enhancement in the winds just to the south of there, or the potential of perhaps what could be two tornadoes in a short vicinity. Typically, one will win out. And this may be what is the new rotation or center of rotation trying to form in that area. And I was noticing on the last couple of scans of the debris tracker that it wasn't looking as well defined. We're not seeing that clear circular white blob, we'll call it, that was showing that tornado. So I think it may be lifting up, and the rotation may be trying to form a little more to the south of the Waterloo area. Marshall, I think this tornado warning is going to be clipped back for you. Still stay in your safe place, but it looks like we may be starting to see a secondary area of concern that would be just to the south of Waterloo and just to the north of I-94 there as you're heading eastward out of the Madison area. This might be the new area we need to keep a very close eye on as we move forward in time. I wanted to widen the map out here because I've been keeping a little bit of an eye on the hail as well, and most places not seeing a ton, but we have been seeing some down to the south, and this is what is also prompting the extension of the severe thunderstorm warning coming out just seconds ago. You saw it flashing there on your screen to now include the Janesville area and the rest of Rock County and western Walworth County towards the Delavan, Lake Geneva area, Whitewater, 50 to 60 mile an hour winds and the potential of this quarter-size hail as this hail core does move in your direction. This hail core, if it holds together, would move directly over the Janesville area. Beloit, you are not included in this. Right now, it looks like that hail core would stay just to your north, but definitely keep a close eye on it. In terms of the wind, we're still looking at the potential of those 40, 50, maybe 60 mile an hour winds, but it looks like right now this is going to be hail as a big concern, and the biggest concern for that cell that's down into portions of Greene and Rock County. So first alert, Janesville, hail is going to be your big concern. If you can get the car in the garage, you're going to be better off than not as that storm moves through. We've hopefully had what was another scan or two here of the radar. Let's take you back into this tornado-warned storm beginning to move out of Dane County and into northwestern portions of Jefferson. There's also that tornado warning that may potentially be expanded into Dodge County. It doesn't look like this is super tight in my opinion, but it looks like it's trying to organize. This is some pretty intense rotation on a broad level. We'll see in the next couple scans here if this gets really tight, indicative of a tornado then reaching the ground again. I think the storm is rotating. We have the wall cloud. There is the potential, high potential, probably a funnel cloud with this. And we're going to see if this reaches back down to the ground as a tornado as we move a little closer to 7:30 this evening. The debris tracker looking messy, not standing out to me in my opinion. But again, I do think that this has kind of cycled, or we have two areas of concern for rotation. Amanda, I know you've been watching this. What are your thoughts on the rotation here?
Yeah, the National Weather Service also agreeing with you that it looks like this storm has been cycling and is kind of focusing that energy on a different part of that storm that's moving into, again, western Jefferson County. Now, I'm focusing on Dane County right now, but it does look like we have an update to that tornado warning in northern Jefferson County. It does look like Dane County has been taken out of that, so that is good news right now. We'll zoom in on that tornado warning that is now just for northwestern Jefferson County. This is north of Lake Mills. Lake Mills, you are in the clear. Johnson Creek, this is also just to the north of you. This will be headed towards Watertown though. So if we zoom in a little bit more, Waterloo, you are right on the edge of this. Milford also included in this tornado warning. This runs until 7:45 this evening, so about another 15 minutes of that tornado warning. And again, we're watching for just southwest or southeast, I should say, of Waterloo, where those bright greens and these yellows and reds are very close to each other. So that is where we could be getting in on a little bit of that rotation. We just got a new scan in there that is continuing to move further into Jefferson County. This will be headed towards Watertown. If you're in Watertown, I would get into your safe place right now. No word from the National Weather Service if they will be extending that tornado warning further into Jefferson County, but that is definitely a possibility. So Watertown, Ebenezer, I would get into your safe place as well, as this tornado warning is getting close to you, and it's not a bad idea to play it safe and get into that safe place right now. Now, I do want to go back to what I was looking at in Dane County. We've heard some pretty big rumbles here in the station just overhead. Had a lot of thunderstorms moving through. I want to give you a broader look at Dane County. I know we have a lot of viewership in Dane County. A lot of the most condensed areas of lightning now moving out. Some flashes of lightning here or there. That heavier rain starting to move through Madison and just to the east, moving into Stoughton, the McFarland area, Cottage Grove, moving into York as well. Wanakee, Black Earth, Mount Horeb, Perry. You're starting to see things die down just a little bit, but we do still have some severe thunderstorm warnings in place. That area in green, which continues to include Madison and areas northward, is a flash flood warning. So if you're about to head out on the roads in the next little bit here, make sure you're watching for some flooded areas. And now some additional good news. Looks like all the tornado warnings have been cleared out of Dane County, but as I was just talking about earlier, the National Weather Service has now extended that tornado warning to include Watertown. So this is continuing through northern Jefferson County, southern Dodge County. That tornado warning continues until 7:45 this evening. The National Weather Service continuing to have that considerable threat tag and also the observed tornado tag on this cell, Brian.
Yep, absolutely, Amanda. We were thinking that Dane County was going to be a little bit more in the clear. That looks to be the case. So the Marshall area, you're in the clear from this tornadic warned storm. Waterloo eastward, northern Jefferson, southern Dodge County, you are next in line for this potential tornado, which at times has been producing a tornado. So let's take you back in here and take a look at this velocity and the areas that we're most concerned on. And you can see that it is right around the Waterloo area and then maybe a secondary impulse here. This is kind of interesting. It has a couple little notches here that we're tracking, one just to the east of Waterloo and then a little stronger one just to the south and east of there, and that's probably the one that is of most concern for perhaps producing a tornado. This has tightened up a little bit in the last couple radar scans. If you remember a couple minutes ago, we were talking about how this was showing very strong indications of rotating, but it wasn't all that tight just yet. the latest radar scan showing this starting to tighten up just a little bit and indicating a perhaps greater risk of a tornado developing with this cell. And we'll have to see in a couple more scans here in our debris detection if we are seeing that. There's a little bit of some clutter out ahead of this. We're also moving closer to the weather radar that's in the Sullivan area, and things can get a little jumbled up in that situation. But it does appear that we may have a radar indicated tornado again from that area that we were just talking about, and perhaps two areas of concern. One east of Waterloo right now, right in that area here. This is where we have one little inflow notch. This one looks to be weakening. Typically, you can't get two tornadoes this close together. One will overtake the other, and at least in the energy. And then we have perhaps what is the stronger one and the better chance one right there that would perhaps be introducing that tornado. Here's Highway 19. There's the county line for Dodge and Jefferson County. So if you're familiar with that, in 19, that kind of traverses the county line. This is where that storm's kind of heading. So if you live 5-10 miles on either side of the county line of Dodge and Jefferson, this is where you need to be in your tornado safe place immediately, and where you need to be taking this pretty seriously. I'm going to widen it out just a little bit. I want to do a bit of a storm track. Storm moving off to the east at around 30 to 35 miles an hour. So it's going to be taking its time to get off to the east. It's not moving all that quickly. So it will be on the ground, if it is on the ground, for a little bit longer here, and I think that's the main area of concern right now. Amanda, anything new kind of coming in for you?
Yeah, nothing really new from the National Weather Service, but yes, continuing to monitor that area that is moving just to the east of Waterloo and headed towards the Watertown area. If we put our correlation on here, it's not quite as clear as what it was when we were seeing this moving through Marshall, but still, you can see that little jumble. It's really hard to describe what this is. This little area right here where we see some darker blues picking up, maybe some whites in there as well. As we flip back to velocity, that main area of concern on the velocity area is right kind of on the divide of those tornado warnings. So right here, just south of that Highway 19 marker is really where we're watching. So as we flip back and forth between that correlation and the velocity, it does look like those are sort of lining up. So we're continuing to watch this. Again, the National Weather Service is sticking with that observed tornado tag, which is not good news. This is headed towards Watertown into the Emmett area as well. You were included in this. State Road 26 I saw pop on there. Old Lebanon included in this as well. So this is northern Jefferson County and southern Dodge County. We'll zoom this out so you can see this is all happening to the east of Madison, to the north of Fort Atkinson, north of Lake Mills as well, and just to the south of Beaver Dam, south of Columbus. So right on that line between Dodge and Jefferson County is really the area that we're watching. We'll zoom back out and take a closer look at what we're watching. I'm also trying to monitor the chat from the National Weather Service. They are continuing a lot of flash flood warnings. They're getting more reports of flooding coming in across southern Wisconsin, especially as some of these storms are starting to pass our eastern counties. More people getting out, passing our western counties and moving east. People in those western counties starting to get out and observe a little bit of the damage, some of the flooding that they've seen. And so we're starting to see some of those reports coming in, especially through parts of Sauk County, northern Dane County, also reporting some flooded areas as well. So we'll continue to monitor that through the rest of the evening. Of course, the most pressing issue that we're watching is those two tornado warnings we have in northern Jefferson and southern Dodge. Brian.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Amanda. And still concerning when we look at this, I want to throw the velocity on loop here, and you can kind of see how things have evolved over the last hour. And you can see how we had that initial rotation around the Marshall area, and then that one kind of weakened, and a southern one formed just to the south of that. And now this is kind of wrapping around. So the whole storm is rotating, kind of bulging out of the main line. And it appears we're getting these embedded tornadoes spinning up along it, and it continuing to be a concern. I think this is heading right towards Watertown and the area that needs to be in their tornado safe place immediately. If you do live in the Watertown area, this is going to be pushing directly to you. Here's Highway 26 moving northward, 19 moving west to east here, and kind of going directly through Watertown or just to the west. That's kind of the corridor that we're going to be keeping a very close eye on for that potential tornado right in this area here. Again, 26 and 19 where that meets, and moving towards Watertown itself. That's where we are going to be having the potential of this tornado rolling its way through. In the wake of all these showers and storms, as Amanda was mentioning, flash flood warnings are being issued, and then all of this active weather will push out of southern Wisconsin. The water will take time to recede, but it will do so as we head through tonight, and we'll focus on river flooding as we head into early next week. So we're continuing to watch the progression of these storms. If you are northwest of Madison, you're pretty much in the clear from the severe threat. There's still some lingering light rain, but nothing that's of real concern in terms of severe weather. Remember, don't drive into the flash flooding or the high water. That's never a good idea. As you get down near the state line, we have the heavy rain and storms continuing, and then we're watching that severe threat, Madison south and eastward, getting into the southeastern corner of our viewing area as this has kind of just progressed eastward through the afternoon. The severe thunderstorm warning now includes most of Rock and Walworth County, does not include the Beloit area as mentioned. And that southern flank, that continues to be mainly a hail threat. If I throw the hail back on here, that's what we were tracking earlier, but actually looks like that may not be as big a concern anymore. It looks like the hail core kind of dumping itself out. We'll see if it re-energizes. Still expecting some smaller hail into the Janesville area. This will cross 3990 in the next 20 or 30 minutes and produce torrential downpours and what could be some treacherous travel in that area. Of more concern, though, continues to be the potential of this tornado on the ground through northern Jefferson, southern portions of Dodge County, right around the Watertown area where we do have and have had that rotation. And it still does appear that we may have some pretty significant tightening of that right now. So let's throw a debris tracker back on. I think this tornado is back on the ground. You can see right here, we have that bright white blob that is formed, indicating what is likely debris being lofted into the atmosphere. I throw the velocity on there, and it is in exactly the same place. I believe this tornado is back on the ground again in this area. So this would be just to the west of Watertown. Watertown, get in your emergency safe place immediately. Again, this is Highway 19, this is Highway 26. It is coming right where those intersect. Watertown, this is coming right to you. This is traversing the Dodge and Jefferson County line. I think this tornado is on the ground again. The rotation has really tightened up in the last 5 or 10 minutes, and our debris detection software is showing what I believe to be a debris ball right here. So very high probability that this tornado is back on the ground, and this needs to be taken a little more seriously than we were doing just a couple minutes ago. Watertown, this is heading right to you. I cannot emphasize enough, if you live in the Watertown area, to be in your safe place. Do not mess around with this system. Do not try and spot this out your window. Chances are you wouldn't with the heavy rain, and this is a serious situation. Watertown, safe place immediately. Right now, there is the debris ball associated with this tornado lining up very nicely with that tight rotation. You see the red and the gold there lining up with the green and blue, and it's in a very tight area. That is a textbook definition of a tornado on the ground. You overlay with the debris software, and well, it's pretty much a guarantee at this point that we have that tornado moving towards Watertown. Amanda, are you getting any other reports of this area? I'm growing increasingly concerned for Watertown.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any new reports coming from the National Weather Service, and because we don't have any new reports, the National Weather Service has pulled back that observed tag from the warning. However, with how concerned we are and how tight this rotation appears to be, how fast this rotation appears to be, you really need to take this situation seriously in Watertown, in Emmett, anywhere to the east of that as well. We'll put a track on this. Generally, this storm has been moving anywhere from about 20 to 30 miles per hour. So we'll start this right where we have those blue colors and move it directly towards the east. Watertown, this will be getting towards you at about 7:47. So you have 7 minutes right now. The time now is 7:40. You have 7 minutes to grab your kids, grab your family, get into your basement if you are not there already. Get into your safe place. That is the lowest area of your house and also the interior-most room of your house. So we'll be getting into Pipersville at about 7:55, into Old Lebanon at about 7:58. That is in southern Dodge County. So again, we are watching this very closely, and I want to zoom in. Looks like a new flash flood warning now coming out for this area. So much of southern Wisconsin just getting absolutely pummeled this evening. But what I'm going to do, we're zooming in on velocity, which is just a fancy word for winds, our wind speeds. I'm going to click on this area of dark blue that we have just south of that 19 marker. Our system is estimating that those winds are at about 70 miles per hour. Those are really strong winds that can do a lot of damage on their own. Keeping in mind all of the heavy rain we're now pouring on top of that already saturated soil, that can uproot trees very, very easily. So I think we will have likely widespread damage through parts of northern Jefferson County and really through much of southern Wisconsin, as these storms have been producing a lot of rain and also a lot of heavy winds. So again, this tornado warning is for northern Jefferson and southern Dodge County. Again, that area in green that we are seeing flashing on the screen, that is a new flash flood warning that's coming out from the National Weather Service. But of most concern is the tornado warnings for northern Jefferson, southern Dodge. They run until 7:45 this evening. I suspect they will be extended as that area of rotation is still looking pretty concerning. Again, right where you see those dark blues and those bright reds, checking in on that correlation, you can still see that right near the Highway 19 marker just to the west of Watertown. So we can't stress enough, if you are in Watertown, you should be in your safe place.
Amanda, just as you were talking about that significant threat and likely tornado on the ground, I was watching a storm down at the Rock County around the Hanover area, just prompting in the last 10 seconds a new tornado warning for Rock County. I want to take you into this storm. Initially, we were concerned with hail being the big threat as it moved out of Greene County into Rock County. That hail threat weakened, and now the storm has picked up some rotation, and we are concerned that this is going to be producing a tornado. This does include you in Janesville. A new tornado warning for Rock County, central and east central portions of Rock County until 8:15. It's 7:43, so that's going to be about 32 minutes from now that this tornado warning remains in place. I can't emphasize enough that this does include you in Janesville. Get to your tornado safe place immediately. I want to throw the velocity back on here and take a look at what's coming together with this storm. And it looks like we do have some rotation just to the west of Janesville to the Orfordville area. The radar scan is a little messy this time around, but this does look to be where the rotation is. I'm going to hope for a better scan when the radar goes back around. I'm not seeing anything on our debris detection software, but we are seeing what is a radar indicated tornado, meaning the storm itself is rotating. And if you were listening earlier this afternoon, I was talking about any storms that form to the south and closer to the state line, they would be more at risk for producing potential tornadic development, due to the fact that we do have the ingredients necessary for them down there a little bit more than we did north of Madison, and the storms were a little more discreet and on their own. Now they are kind of all combining into a line, but also still producing that potential tornado threat. So again, just coming into the First Alert Weather Center, tornado warning for central and east central portions of Rock County, Janesville. That is going until 8:15 this evening. We are going to watch that one very closely. I'm hoping another scan or two comes in here in the next minute, and we will get a better look at what's happening on that storm. We're going to take a quick look, though, at that storm that we were talking about, and Amanda was just tracking towards Watertown, because that one has had what appears to be a tornado on the ground. We had a new scan come in with that, and it doesn't look much better in terms of weakening. We are still seeing very strong winds going in and out of that storm, and that is what is producing the tornado in that area. And it still appears that that tornado perhaps is on the ground. The latest scan in the debris detection tracker here, a little less pronounced. That would be maybe some good news in that it has perhaps lifted off the ground for a couple minutes. We will see if that trend continues in the next couple of scans. In fact, it looks like we just got a new scan in, and it does appear that this has weakened considerably just in the last 5 minutes. So that correlates nicely with the debris software we were looking at. Tornado warning still in place for Watertown and points eastward. And if you live in this area, take it serious, because this may quickly produce another tornado at any point in time, as we've seen since the storm initiated back into the Marshall area. But I'll throw the time lapse on here of the velocity. You can see how things got really tight here, and just in the last frame there kind of broke off, and things have improved. They just trimmed back the tornado warning west of Watertown. You're out of that now. That's the good news. Waterloo, Lake Mills, Johnson Creek, no longer in that tornado warning. It's Watertown and points eastward in terms of that ongoing threat of a tornado. Okay, let's widen back out. I want to take you back down to Rock County and see if things look a little more organized on our software here. So again, the newly issued tornado warning for Janesville going until 8:15. Looks like this would be the area of perhaps concern. Looks a little messy on the radar and velocity here. Storm clearly rotating a little bit, radar indicated, which is always better than confirmed in terms of tracking these storms. So we'll hope that threat continues and it never reaches the ground, but you need to treat this as a tornado is on the ground. Amanda, are you getting any reports out of the Janesville area of where this may be exactly?
Yeah, no reports, but the National Weather Service says they are seeing that rotation beginning to tighten a little bit. Of course, it doesn't look quite as impressive as what we are looking at in Jefferson County, but if you remember when Brian first went to Rock County to show you what that rotation looked like, it does look more impressive right now, and that is what the National Weather Service is picking up on, that area of rotation starting to tighten a little bit. So this is moving right towards the Janesville area. The most impressive area of rotation that we're seeing is near West Rockport Road, South County Highway D, I believe that is, South River Road, State Highway 51, Conde Street, Kellogg Avenue, Secretariat Drive as well. Looks to be the area where we're seeing some of that rotation. Again, that is just to the south of Janesville, just north of Rock. This is moving towards the east at about 40 miles per hour. So we'll put a little track on this, give you some estimated arrival times as this continues to make its way through parts of Rock County. So our system estimating this will be getting into Janesville in the next couple minutes right now. If it's not there already, I've been checking in on some of our Wisconsin DOT cameras. I know our guys back in the booth working to get up some of those cameras. There's a lot of heavy rain coming down right on I-90 in Janesville, or I-39, I should say, in Janesville right now. As we getting towards La Prairie just before 8 o'clock, getting towards Emerald Grove at the top of the hour. You can see that there. We're pulling up this camera. This is I-3990 at Town Line, it looks like. You can see that rain coming down sideways, potentially some hail mixed in there as well. Some cars driving on those roads. I'm sure there's a lot of water on those roadways. The winds look to be going pretty quickly as well. Some cars putting on their hazards as visibility looks rather low as well. So definitely not a good evening to be on the roads in this area of Rock County. Again, Brian is highlighting some of that rotation that we're seeing there as we're getting closer towards Janesville. This area looking a little bit more concerning as that rotation is starting to tighten up just a little bit.
Amanda, yeah, I was just looking at this and where the rotation looks to be a little stronger. Next couple of radar scans that came in while you were talking, showing a little better picture of where this tornado may be between Rock and Janesville itself. Concerned that this is where we are perhaps seeing a tornado form, and there has been an unconfirmed report of possibly one on the ground there. So I want to clear this off and throw on the debris tracking again, because I was looking at this when Amanda was talking. It's a little messy, but there are some indications that there may be a tornado trying to form or just forming and reaching the ground here between Rock and Janesville. This is 51. Here's Janesville. This would be just south of Janesville itself. Get in your safe place, Janesville down to Rock. In La Prairie, you need to be in your safe place. This would be heading towards I-3990, and this is not a good situation. Looks like it has been getting a little bit stronger in terms of the rotation on this system, and it's something I want to keep a very close eye on, because just in the last 5 or 10 minutes, we've gone from more of a broad circulation to a little bit of a tighter one. And again, I think it's in this area right here along 51 and points westward towards 11 that we are going to be looking at that potential tornado. This may stay just south of Janesville. I would plan on being in your safe place, Janesville, regardless of the situation here, because you are under the tornado warning and the rotation could veer just a little more to the north. So we'll see what happens as this continues eastward, but this storm is now becoming increasingly concerning as the rotation tightens up a little bit, and there is now a potential tornado on the ground just to the south of the Janesville area. So let's throw the debris tracker back on one more time. If there was a tornado on the ground, and this is a little messy, but I think it would be right in this area right here that we need to be keeping a little bit closer eye on, and it would be getting closer to 51 there. So if you know that route, Janesville southward on 51, that's where the potential rotation and our potential tornado is on the ground just to the north of Rock itself, and definitely very concerning as we move through the next 20 or 30 minutes. The hail has not gotten a lot worse, so that's good news, but I do worry that there is a potential tornado on the ground here. And Amanda, I'm seeing that with this latest update, we do have an observed tornado on the ground. Is that right?
That is right. The National Weather Service changing that to a tornado confirmed signature from radar. So we don't have any spotters out in Rock County, but the National Weather Service is confident enough in what they're seeing on radar to change that to an observed tornado that is happening just southwest of Janesville. This is near Rock, headed towards La Prairie. So this is right near South County Highway D, moving towards Highway 51. This will eventually be getting closer to I-39. So if you know anyone in this area that might be traveling into this area in the next little bit, shoot them a call, a text, make sure they know what is headed their way. Again, this is now starting to move towards the east of Rock, getting closer to the interstate. This is near Kellogg Avenue, Beloit Avenue as well. This is all just south of Janesville. If you are in Janesville, La Prairie, Emerald Grove, Avalon, you should be in your safe place right now, as this is not a good situation. That area of rotation looking more and more concerning. We're starting to see some of those blues and purples popping on. You can see how those greens and reds are almost kind of hugging each other. It almost looks like that yin-yang symbol, where those things are starting to rotate together. Those winds rotating in different directions, moving together. So that is some of that rotation that we're watching. We'll put the correlation back on here, our debris detection, and that is picking up a significant area right near Kellogg Avenue, near Palmer Drive, near South County Highway G. This is all just south of Janesville. So this could be picking up possibly some tree limbs, hopefully not any parts of buildings, as this is moving just south of Janesville. If we click on some of the velocity areas, we can try to estimate what the wind speed is. We'll click on that purple area right near Kellogg. And our system estimating wind speeds close to 80 miles per hour. So this could be a very strong tornado that could potentially be on the ground. The National Weather Service now putting a considerable damage threat with this situation in Janesville.
Yeah, Amanda, not a good situation. This would be now the 4th confirmed tornado we've had this afternoon. They just keep on coming, and it's not good news if you live in the Rock County and the Janesville area. Between Rock and Janesville, it is getting ever so close to Janesville. It has taken more of a northeasterly jog here versus an easterly jog, and that may clip southern portions of Janesville. So you need to be taking this extremely seriously. This is about to cross the interstate, and would not be a good situation if we have people traveling in that vicinity. As Amanda was showing you on the velocity here, though, things have really tightened up. We started watching this to the west around Brodhead, and we were seeing broad rotation. And then as it started to move eastward, that started to get a little more organized. And now we are seeing a very tight rotation just to the south of Janesville itself. And that is also lining up very nicely with where potential debris tracker is, and why we need to be in our safe place in this area, because we are looking at that potential tornado there just to the south of Janesville, and where things are looking the worst in terms of that area. I think we do have a camera somewhere in that vicinity that we're going to take a look at, and man, look at the horizontal rain and wind there. People under the overpass, that's never a good idea. Don't recommend that. Get to a safer place if possible. Being under the overpass is a horrible idea, so not good decisions by those people there. You can see other people kind of driving with their flashers on. This is near where we may be having that potential tornado moving and getting close to crossing the interstate. So things are not looking great right now in the Janesville area and to the interstate down towards Rock itself. That corridor is where there is likely a tornado on the ground. We're still seeing very tight couplets in terms of where that wind is, and when you overlay our debris tracker, well, you can see it right there, that bright yellow and green blob you see. That is likely where our tornado is. That is likely debris that has been lofted up into the atmosphere. The radar beam is hitting it, and it's going, hey, that is not a raindrop. That is something else. It's either grass, it's wood, some other type of debris that has been picked up by this tornado and then thrown back down onto the ground. So there is the very high likelihood that this tornado continues just to the south of Janesville. It is beginning to cross I-3990. Not good news for the people that are traveling on there right now. We saw the horizontal rain and the reduced visibility, and things that are not improving a whole lot here with the latest radar scan. You can see it coming in there just around Janesville and just to the south of Janesville. Looks like the rotation, the tornado itself, is somewhere between Highway 51 and 3990. momentarily probably going to be crossing the interstate and becoming more of an issue for areas east of Janesville as we head towards 8 o'clock and beyond tonight. This tornado warning right now, at least, will be going until 8:15 this evening. Amanda, any new reports coming out of the area? I know we're in a more heavily populated region than some of these other tornadoes that we've had this afternoon.
Yeah, of course, with that heavy rain coming down, it's really going to be hard to see anything. You can hardly even see that roadway that we were looking at there. But the National Weather Service does say they have some spotter reports coming in confirming that tornado that is south of Janesville. So I'm zooming in so we can see some of those street names. That camera we were looking at, that was I-3990 at Avalon Road. So where we were looking is right here, right by this 39 marker. And the area where we are seeing that tornado is just towards the north and west. So you can see again, those people under the overpass, I know they're likely panicking as they're on the road. That is not a good idea, though. It is always best to try to get to a gas station, get pulled over somewhere else. But those cameras really starting to shake. And I believe if we really keep on this camera, we could potentially see that tornado crossing the interstate in the next little bit here as it is getting very close to I-39. So this is right near Kellogg Avenue, South Randall Avenue, East County Highway O. This is now, it looks like on our newest radar scan, this is now crossed I-39, headed towards East County Highway O. This is headed towards the Emerald Grove area, La Prairie. This is right by you. You should be in your safe place. I'll pull up our debris detection once again. If we could switch over to my computer, that would be great. We're looking just to the north of La Prairie. That is where we see some of those yellows and oranges, some greens mixing in there. When we put the velocity back on, that is exactly where we're seeing some of those blues, some of those reds. That area of rotation is just north of La Prairie, and that is headed towards Emerald Grove. So this is now moving southeast of Janesville. This has crossed I-3990 and moving along Avalon Road. This is moving towards the east. So La Prairie, Emerald Grove, Bradford, Johnstown. You should get in your safe place right now. Again, this is a confirmed tornado from the National Weather Service. We're very closely monitoring this area of rotation that is potentially producing some debris. That's that indication that there is something on the ground disturbing what is on the ground and pulling up that rotation, and that is likely a tornado in this case. So the National Weather Service not giving us many new updates as those storm spotters are out there trying to keep an eye on this tornado. Let's zoom out and take a look at what the rest of the region is seeing. Check in on some of those other alerts that we had in place. It does still look like we have that tornado warning for northern Jefferson County. Don't want to get distracted and ignore you in northern Jefferson County. Watertown, you are still in a tornado warning. This is near Emmett as well, Ionia. This is right along West Wisconsin Avenue. Let's check in on that rotation. It does look like there is some rotation there. It's not quite as impressive as what we were seeing earlier. Again, we're looking at Watertown. What's on your screen, that is what's happening in Rock County right now on the left-hand side of your screen. So what we're watching is this rotation right near Watertown. If we move it back in time just a little bit, we can see how that rotation has evolved, and it has strengthened slightly in that latest scan. You can see some of those darker blues there, but it doesn't look like those colors are merging together quite as much. This could be becoming a little bit more of a straight line wind event as that thing is moving through Jefferson County.
Thanks a lot, Amanda. Great analysis there, and we continue to keep a very close eye on that cell as well as it moves in our direction. And we're going to be keeping an eye on that. I don't know if we can get Max 2 or 1 at the wall for me, guys, if you can. And again, we're tracking that tornado that's been on the ground into portions of Rock County, and I think it may be cycling just a little bit. There is definitely a lot of inflow in this, and I do think the tornado itself is just to the east of Janesville and has now officially crossed the interstate. So if you are familiar with that area, I think it is now east of I-3990 in this vicinity right here, and here's Highway 14, here's 3990 La Prairie. This is probably where we're looking at the tornado that's on the ground ground still, and it may be going through some type of cycle right now. This is similar to what we saw into portions of Dodge and Jefferson counties with that tornado a little bit ago. I think the tornado may be trying to lift off the ground. We're not seeing as a well-defined debris ball on the debris tracker right now. The velocity is getting a little more disorganized as well. So I think we may be starting to cycle this storm, meaning where the rotation is currently may not be where the rotation is going to be in the next 5 or 10 minutes. There's potential that this could not get organized, or it's going to get organized and likely produce another tornado. So we will watch this closely. This is where the rotation is currently, but I do think we're cycling in this storm, and there's going to be some changes and developments as we move through the next 5 or 10 minutes. So we will watch this extremely closely. If there's any good news, it's that there is the potential that this tornado is trying to lift back up and reorganize itself. We're hoping that is the case because we had several reports just to the south of Janesville that this was on the ground between Rock and Janesville eastward to 51 to I-39-90 as it crossed over, and now just to the east of the interstate where things are looking maybe just a smidge better than they were over the last 5 or 10 minutes. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Again, this is a shot you're looking at on the left side of your screen from where that storm just passed, and things are looking a little bit better. We're seeing increased visibility. We're seeing the rain not as driving horizontal as it was, and that's another indication that the strongest portion of the cell has moved off to the east. Terrible decision though to park under the overpass. Cannot recommend enough not to do that if you are ever in a situation like that. It can kind of funnel the winds, and it's just not going to protect you. Best case is to get to a safe place as soon as you can. Again, here's where that rotation though continues to be, and where we'll kind of watch things over the next couple minutes. I want to put this in motion here and show you how the rotation has evolved over time. It really got its act together around Rock. You see it move there, and now it has weakened just a little bit. We still have the tornado warning going until 8:15. I think this is going to be cleared from the Janesville and Rock area in the next 5 or 10 minutes, as that threat is now really east of the interstate. So stay in your safe place, Janesville, but things are looking better for you in terms of this tornadic situation. The rotation is moving east of your region, and I suspect we'll see this trend back here in the next couple of minutes, and hopefully we'll see this system not get its act together as it tries to kind of cycle through what's going on. And winding the map out here once again, good news, that tornado warning that we had for Dodge and Jefferson County, that has been allowed to expire. We are replaced with severe thunderstorm warnings. This has turned more into a line. General 60-mile-an-hour winds still associated with this. So the main storm of concern is going to be down near the state line as it pushes out of Green Rock and into Walworth County as we push towards 8:15 this evening. That's when the current tornado warning goes until, and depending on what happens in the next couple of minutes, that will dictate what's going to happen for you into Walworth County, and if this warning is going to be expanded off to the east. So we do need a couple more scans here of our radar to see exactly what's happening with this system and this cell, and where that rotation may be trying to reorganize just a little bit. And it does appear we got a new scan in here, so let's zoom in and see exactly what's happening here. This would now be almost eastern Rock County. Here's Highway 14, so we are now well east of I-39-90, Johnstown, Bradford, if you're familiar with that area. Delavan, of course, to the east as we get into Walworth County. This is where the rotation is. It looks to me to be more broad, and it looks like it's trying to get organized, but it's not super tight, which would make me believe that maybe the tornado has lifted up temporarily. We're hoping that's the case. We don't know for sure. Obviously, we're not right under this cell, but this would be the area of concern, kind of tracking down Highway 14 here as we get into eastern Rock County as we push towards 8:15 tonight. That's when we are going to be having this tornado warning go till. Have the debris detection software on here. And again, I think the tornado has temporarily lifted. I'm not seeing anything that's indicative of a tornado debris signature showing up on the radar. So temporarily, some good news. Are we out of the woods? No, because this is clearly rotating. It clearly has some winds in excess of 60 miles an hour, and in the next 5 to 10 minutes, it may continue to strengthen and it may get organized once again. And as it gets closer to the Rock-Walworth County line, it may say, hey, I'm organized enough that I'm going to drop another tornado, and that is the threat and why we will continue with that tornado warning for another 10 minutes as we inch closer to that 8:15 time frame tonight. Amanda, we have been seeing incredible amounts of rain with this. We haven't been talking about it as much just because we've had so many other things going on, but we have numerous flash flood warnings ongoing for the region as well, it looks like.
Yeah, much of Dane County, much of Sauk County included in flash flood warnings. We've had some extended into parts of Rock County as well. Good news for our far central and northwestern counties. That threat is now over for that torrential rain. The severe weather threat is now done for much of Dane County, or really all of Dane County, I would say. Some showers still moving through eastern Dane County, Columbia County, Sauk, Richland, Iowa. Northern Grant County should be mostly clear. There are still some thunderstorms in southern Grant County. Then into Crawford, Juneau, Adams, Green Lake, Marquette, Vernon counties should all be clear from the additional rain and severe weather through the rest of the evening. But I want to give you a look at some of those other alerts that we have in place. We'll take off the severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings and just focus on those flood warnings that we've had. Now that some of those storms are starting to pass our western counties, people getting out and seeing the conditions of the roads, their driveways, their yards, different areas in their town, and starting to send in some reports for the National Weather Service. So we can check in on some of those reports here. If I can finally click off all of these severe thunderstorm warnings. There we go. You can see much of our northern counties included in flash flood warnings right now. So this is Crawford County into southern Vernon County. Richland County included in a flash flood warning that runs until 9:15 this evening. Also much of Sauk County, the Dells just north of that, but much of Sauk County included in a flash flood warning, as is much of Columbia County. Northern Dane County, really anywhere north of Madison, in between Madison and Decorah is kind of the line there of where we have that flash flood threat. Some of that does continue into parts of Dodge and Jefferson County as well. Some of these running until 10:15 this evening. Then we do also have that flash flood concern in Rock County with that cell just passed through. That flash flood warning in place until 11 o'clock this evening. But of course, we still have that tornado warning in place for parts of Rock County. It does look like the National Weather Service is starting to move that out of Rock County and now moving that into parts of Walworth County, as we're seeing some of that rotation moving a little bit farther towards the east. So that's headed towards Elkhorn, Williams Bay. That tornado warning until 8:15 this evening. So they haven't extended this for a very long time. Let's see if we can get the system. There we go, until 8:45 now for Walworth County. That tornado warning is in place. So another half hour, 35 minutes of this tornado warning for, again, much of Walworth County here, Brian.
Yep, and while you were talking there, that is when that new tornado warning was just issued. So this coming down just in the last 1 to 2 minutes. That's a new tornado warning for extreme eastern Rock County and now western portions of Walworth County, including Delavan. This is going until 8:15 and then 8:45 as we get into the east of the Janesville area, or excuse me, east of the Rock County area. This is because we are continuing to see that rotation showing there. Before Amanda was talking about our flooding threat, we were saying that the storm was cycling and we were going to be waiting to see exactly what was going to happen. We are still kind of in that cycling phase, but we still have the rotation, and we're still concerned that this may get more organized in the next couple of minutes and would perhaps then produce what would be a tornado east of Rock County and closer to the Elkhorn area, and points off to the east of there. So definitely concerns now to the east of Rock County, and concerns that there may be an additional tornado trying to develop. This would be tracking towards the Elkhorn area. At this point in time, we are back to a radar indicated tornado. So that's really coinciding with what I was saying and how the rotation kind of weakened. It became more broad, and now it's kind of shifted a little more to the north. The storm is cycling, and it's deciding whether it's going to get its act together again or it's just going to blow through and not be a threat. But as a precaution, we have extended that tornado warning. Our friends at the National Weather Service in Milwaukee for western and southwestern portions of Walworth County going until 8:45 this evening. Elkhorn, there's I-43. This is going to be the area of concern as we move through the next 20 to 30 minutes. We're coming up on 8:10 right now. We've been in severe weather coverage here at WMTV 15 News for the last couple of hours. We issued that first alert day several days ago to get you prepared for what was going to be an active afternoon and evening. And this has kind of been a worst case scenario that has developed through the day today. And so far, far, it appears we may have had 4 tornadoes work through our area. That's just what we've been able to kind of confirm on the radar this afternoon. We'll see if we had any more spin up between that. There's numerous reports of damage and a lot of reports of some power outages across the area. I know our news team's been keeping a close eye on that. I do want to head it over to Cameron at the desk real quick. Cameron, you've been focusing on those power outages, and it seems like every 10-15 minutes that number's jumping higher and higher.
Higher and higher, Brian. And we did receive a few updates from Wisconsin DOT. I do want to mention, you had talked about it, Amanda had talked about it. Please do not stay under those overheads. Highway 130 northbound and southbound blocked off roads due to flooding, so that has been blocked out for over 2 hours. So please do not go on the road if you do not have to go on the roads, and those closed off roads will be still closed off for a while. They did lift one of the roads, that was Highway Wisconsin 154, and our team has been bringing you the latest updates, Brian and Amanda, for over 3 hours. And I've been also keeping an eye on power outages that Brian has been talking about, and in Dane County there has been over 3,000 customers without power. And now we're at 6,800. It actually jumped here. And Columbia County has 204. Sauk has 303 people. And then there's 10 people in Richland County. Columbia County also has some outages. And Columbia County also said that there were mudslides in the area. And the village of Prairie du Sac says they have sand and sandbags for people between 15th and 17th Streets. And they also mentioned that first responders are around the area helping all those stalled cars. Again, please stay safe, shelter yourself, and keep those flashlights handy. I'll give it back to you, Brian.
Thanks a lot, Cameron. Please keep an eye on everything and let us know if you have any more information. Continuing to track this tornado warning for Eastern Rock County, now moving into Walworth County. And I think in the next 10 minutes or so, Rock County, you will be cleared from this. And it's mostly going to be a Walworth County issue. You can see the rotation here. I'm waiting to see if this is going to tighten up in the next couple of scans. It's showing indications that it wants to do so. And that would be not good news, as that would indicate the potential of another tornado moving in. You can see we had that tight rotation from Janesville to Bradford. It kind of weakened, and now it seems to perhaps be trying to get its act together once again. Currently, I don't think there is a tornado on the ground with this. It is a radar indicated tornado, but if this continues to strengthen in the fashion that it seems to be doing, we may be starting to see this tighten up again, and we may be preparing ourselves for what would be another tornado. And this, at the present time, looks to be a threat mainly north of I-43. That's where some of the stronger rotation is currently, and where there would be the greater potential of maybe that tornado forming. But again, it's kind of cycling, so we may see that be a little more north or south than it is now, and something we need to watch closely as we get a little closer to the 8:30, 8:45 time frame, which is when that tornado warning will be going until. As Amanda was mentioning, north and west of Madison, you are now in the clear. The rain is tapering off. Flooding will be slow to recede, but it will do so tonight. Down along the state line, we have heavy rain, severe thunderstorm warnings for southern Grant, also southern portions of Lafayette, Greene, and Rock County. That's for the potential of some 60-mile-an-hour winds and a ton of rain. But of most concern right now is that tornado warning moving out of Rock into Walworth County, and then gusty winds that are now pushing out of Dodge and Jefferson counties. I think you will be clipped back from that severe thunderstorm warning in the next 5 or 10 minutes, and a lot of this will be moving out of our area and closer to Milwaukee. So once we can get through this final tornado warning, I'm hopeful things for our region will be calming down, and we will be able to kind of take a breath and assess what has just transpired here over the last couple of hours and what has turned into a very, very active afternoon. Of course, our crews are going to be looking into the potential of at least 4 tornadoes we had this afternoon in conjunction with the National Weather Service in Milwaukee. And we're going to keep an eye on what could be an additional tornado developing down into Eastern Rock and western portions of Walworth County. Continues to be just a radar indicated tornado with this one. We're waiting to see if the rotation is going to tighten up a little bit more. It's trying to. It does appear there are some very gusty winds associated with this, but at this point in time, I'm not seeing a huge indication that the tornado is on the ground, but we are very, very close. The wall cloud is rotating. There could perhaps be a funnel with this, and it could be just waiting to get a little bit more organized to the point that a tornado would occur, and that's why we've seen this tornado warning expanded off to the east. So the greatest area of rotation kind of straddling Walworth County. Again, Rock County, you're going to be in a better situation here in the next 10 to 15 minutes. And then it's going to be Walworth County, Lake Geneva, Elkhorn, Whitewater. It points to the north, eventually just a wind threat that we will be tracking. Here's I-43, and I think it's along this and points northward that would kind of stand the best chance of any additional tornado development if this storm continues to kind of get its act together a little bit more as we move towards 8:30 tonight. All right, looks like just in the last minute we have clipped that tornado warning for Rock County. As expected, that was going to happen. Rock County, you are no longer under the tornado warning. You can come out of your safe place. You're not at any threat of having a tornado in your area anymore. It's now moved into Walworth County, with that being the biggest concern between now and 8:45 this evening, which is when that tornado warning will expire. Amanda, a lot happening this afternoon. Great coverage. What else are you looking at over there?
Yeah, Brian, I know you're keeping a close eye on that tornado warning storm. I'm trying to keep track of some of the damage reports that are coming in now that some of these storms are starting to pass. They've passed much of Lafayette County and starting to make their way out of Rock County, at least those tornado warned cells. We do have reports that a church near Argyle is completely destroyed. I believe we are going to try to send a crew down there and take a closer look. We're also seeing a video here from Kevin of some damage in Janesville. It looks like the tops of trees completely cut off in this area near Janesville. He doesn't specify what road this is on, but I see some emergency response possibly shutting down that section of road in some area of Janesville. So a lot of reports coming in as we continue to monitor these storms as they're headed out. On top of that, a lot of heavy rain that has fallen, a lot of rain reports coming in, totals from about 2 to 3 inches in many places. I'll pull up our automatic rain reports here. Of course, keep in mind these are the official reports that come in from the Dane County Regional Airport, from the Rock County Airport as well. So these may be a little bit different from the totals that you've seen at your house, but many areas reporting close to an inch, if not over an inch. Middleton reporting 2 1/4 inches of rain. Madison about 1 3/4 inches. And I know we had a lot of reports coming in out of Sauk County from just the past couple of hours of 2 to 3 inches of that very heavy rain that has come through. So good news now, this is now moving out of Dane County, I should say. Dane County starting to get in the clear from this. Columbia County as well. The most intense storms moving out of Dodge and starting to make their way out of Jefferson County. So right now all of our attention is centered right on the state line. You can see how some of those stronger storms are focusing right into those southern counties. That's where we have the most energy left in the atmosphere. In fact, I'll actually pull up our temperatures. It's kind of interesting to see. I checked this just a minute ago. Temperature in Janesville right now is 82 degrees. That is a 10-degree difference between Janesville and Watertown. So still a lot of energy for these storms to pull from right along the state line. Whereas for our central and northern counties, those temperatures dropping a little bit. We're losing some of that energy, which is great news. That means our severe storm threat for those counties with lower temperatures is over, where we still have all of that energy right along the state line, especially Rock and Walworth County. That's why we're still seeing some of those stronger storms popping up there. So let's zoom back into Rock County and actually into Walworth County, where we still have that tornado warning in place in addition to some severe thunderstorm warnings. That tornado warning continuing until 8:45 this evening. That flashing you're seeing on the screen is a new severe thunderstorm warning coming out from the National Weather Service. We can put that on there as well. I think a lot of warnings will pop up on here, but that new severe thunderstorm warning for all of Walworth County continuing until 9:30 this evening here, Brian.
Absolutely, Amanda. And I was just querying some of the wind potential in that storm as it starts to push out of Rock County. And we are seeing the potential of 60 to 70 mile-an-hour winds associated with this. And it still is very broadly rotating. It would only take a little bit of strengthening and organization with this cell as it moves out of Rock County to produce what would be a tornado. Again, this is radar indicated, meaning we are close to perhaps dropping another tornado through Walworth County. But right now, I think the main risk is the very strong gusty straight line winds that could be as high as 70 miles an hour. You can see in some of the reports there that we do have this from our radar product indicating that potential, and why we are continuing with all of these warnings that continue to be also issued downstream. You'll notice these have been issued out of our viewing area, but the thing to note, they're being issued as severe thunderstorm warnings, so that is an indication that perhaps we are seeing a slight weakening and that we're going to start transitioning to more of a straight line wind threat as we move forward in time. But definitely something we need to keep a very close eye on for at least for the next 15 or 20 minutes. I want to widen things out here because a lot of the area is beginning to be in the clear, as Amanda was mentioning, and we are starting to see that tornado watch trim back as well. The main threat right now continues to be for our state line counties and southern portions of Grant, Lafayette, Green Rock, and all of Walworth County. You're still getting rain in Dodge and Jefferson counties, but it looks like the strongest portion of this line is now pushing east of your area, and I don't think you're going to be at risk for any more damage from at least the wind department, and I suspect you'll see those warnings trim back momentarily. We still do have the severe thunderstorm warning, though, for southern Grant County, and we will watch that system, that cell. It's far enough south in this line. It's not completely attached and congealed to this main line, so it would be a little more at risk for developing some rotation. We're hopeful that does not happen. It is not really exhibiting signs of that at the moment, but it is something I will keep an eye on. And I don't want to forget about you because you've been under 2 tornado warnings today, and you were under that you did have that confirmed tornado between the Potosi and Platteville area, and you may be under the gun for a 3rd time here, as we do have this severe thunderstorm warning for the southern portion of the county. That's going until 8:30 this evening, so that's about 8 more minutes as we are coming up on 8:22 p.m. on our Saturday afternoon. So Saturday evening, I guess it would be now. Again, that's for Grant County going until 8:30 this evening. I do want to do a little storm analysis of this for you here. There's potential of maybe some pea-sized hail for the southern portion of the county. Dubuque, Cuba City, Hazel Green, you'd be at risk for maybe some pea to quarter-size hail. Fortunately, that hail core is not looking super impressive. Throwing the velocity on here, I'm not seeing anything that's super indicative of rotation, which is what we want to see. I am seeing some bowing out of this, which would indicate just the potential of those 50 to 60 mile an hour winds. But this is the 3rd round of storms for southern Grant County, and that would lead me to believe that things are very susceptible to additional damage after 2 previous rounds. So it may not take a strong storm that we would typically associate to cause damage. It looks like, as I mentioned, that we are looking at that severe thunderstorm warning now expanded into southern portions of Lafayette County. So that is going to be a new severe thunderstorm warning for that area. Right now, we are mostly watching the potential of 60 mile an hour winds and around pea to nickel size hail. This is an area, though, that's a little more in play for rotation. Not looking super favorable right now, so we'll hope that trend continues. But again, that is now a new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for southern portions of Lafayette County, and part of the cell that we're going to keep an eye on. You'll notice this entire line here is moving more or less west to east. And why is that concerning? There's a lot of rain that's going to have to work its way through the state line area. All of this right here is going to lead to tremendous amounts of rain, probably measured in inches. And while we've been seeing that flash flooding threat work its way south, I think you're next in line down near the state line. So a first alert to all our state line counties. Flooding is going to be the secondary threat once we get through the wind and tornadic threat here as we move towards the 8:30, 8:45 time frame tonight. Amanda, I know we're keeping an eye on that potential tornado in Walworth County. You have any more information on the newly issued severe thunderstorm warning for southern portions of Lafayette County?
Yeah, let's take a look at what the National Weather Service is saying for, again, that's far southern Lafayette County. This county has really been under fire for the past little bit here. Let's zoom in on Lafayette County and take a look at that severe thunderstorm warning just in from the National Weather Service. This thankfully does not include Darlington or Argyle, 2 areas that were under the tornado warnings earlier this afternoon and evening. This includes Cuba City, Shullsburg, Gratiot. This is just south of Darlington. This is a severe thunderstorm warning Main concern here are strong wind gusts. Wind gusts close to 60 miles per hour. You see that hail size just under an inch in diameter. Putting on the hail, you see a tiny little bit of hail just to the east of Dubuque on the far corner of your screen there. Not much that, or really anything that will do any damage. Might be a little bit louder as it's falling on your roof, but generally we're just concerned about the winds as the cell is moving through southern Lafayette County. So moving through Cuba City, through Shullsburg, and into Gratiot and right along the state line there. If we take a look at some of those wind speeds, I can query that for us and see what our system is estimating. I'll click right near Shullsburg and see what our system says. Estimating those winds around 20 miles per hour. We'll click near Cuba City and see what's estimating there. Clicked on a lower spot there, but generally seeing those winds possibly gusting close to 30 or 40 miles per hour, with some areas gusting potentially close to about 60 miles per hour for that area. Again, southern Lafayette County is what we're watching. We'll zoom back out and take a look at what we're watching again. All of our focus is right along the state line. I'm actually going to turn off our radar so we can get a closer look at all of the alerts that we have in place right now, because there are quite a few of them. A lot of flood warnings in place. Flash flood warnings are in place through much of the region. Here's a look at all of those. We'll turn off that radar so we can get a closer look. Anywhere in green, that is a flash flood warning. Anywhere in blue, that's a flood advisory. So that's the National Weather Service highlighting that area, saying, hey, you've gotten a lot of rain. We don't have any reports of flooding going on currently, but that could definitely happen with just a little bit more rain, so something to watch. But those areas in green, that's where they have reports of flash flooding that is ongoing. Anywhere that you see that orange-yellow color, that is a severe thunderstorm warning. So we have southern Grant County, southern Lafayette County in the far southwestern part of the state, right near Dubuque. And then we have Janesville, which is now cleared of all of those severe thunderstorm warnings as those stronger storms are starting to move into our eastern counties, far eastern Jefferson, much of Walworth County. And then, of course, we still have that tornado warning for Walworth County that runs until 8:45 this evening. And that is right near the Delavan area. And just to the west of Burlington, this includes Elkhorn. Lake Geneva is right on the edge of this as well. Again, that tornado warning running until 8:45 this evening, Brian.
And I am keeping a very close eye on that storm, Amanda. It has shown signs of strengthening, the rotation getting a little tighter around the Delavan Lake area. This storm is so close to wanting to produce a tornado. I'm hoping we do not reach that next stage, but we have been looking at the rotation tightening just a little bit. I do want to throw the debris tracker on just real quick because if this scan continues for the next couple, I'm concerned that there may be some type of small tornado on the ground between Delavan and Williams Bay. This is the area I've been watching as the velocity has been trying to tighten up a little bit, and that is kind of the area right here. And this is where we have some very strong winds going and coming away from the radar. You can see how they're meeting right here. This appears to be Highway 50 between Delavan, Williams Bay, Lake Geneva. You know the area there, just south of I-43. I'm becoming increasingly concerned that this is a potential tornado that is on the ground now. I'm seeing a little more definition on our debris tracker that would indicate that. So if you are in this area, Highway 50 south of I-43, west of 67, between Delavan and Williams Bay, you need to be in your tornado safe place. There's Highway 12. This will be heading towards that direction in the next 20 minutes or so. This area may very well be developing a tornado on the ground, and what may be of our next concern this evening, as we have been tracking multiple tornadoes over the last couple of hours. So I'm going to throw the velocity back on. I want to play this for you, show you how things have kind of progressed here in the last hour. You can see how the storm has been rotating, and now it appears just in the last couple frames there, you see it tightening up just a little bit as it got to the east of Darien. That's where things have tightened up. Delavan, the Williams Bay, that's where there may now be a tornado on the ground. In the last scan there, it looks like it may have shifted just a little bit to the south towards Williams Bay. That doesn't exactly line up with the velocity here. So unsure if that is a tornado on the ground, but it's very close to producing one if it is not producing one. And you should be in your tornado safe place immediately if you do live in that area. Amanda, please let me know if you hear or see anything otherwise indicating that we have a tornado on the ground there. That's the area I'm very concerned with as we move through the next 15 or 20 minutes. In the meantime, I will widen things out here and show you that things are improving for western and northwestern portions of Rock County. Still dealing with the gusty winds for southeastern Rock County. And then we did have that new severe thunderstorm warning that Amanda was going over for portions of southern Lafayette County and portions of southern Grant County. Looks like they have extended that tornado warning for eastern and southeastern portions of Walworth County for that potential of a tornado on the ground. Amanda, do you have any new information coming out from that? That's concerning to me based on what I was looking at a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, Brian, the National Weather Service is saying they're concerned with the rotation that they were seeing at about 8:25, so about 5 minutes ago now, right near Delvin Lake. So that's what Brian was showing you, and that is why they've continued that tornado warning through the rest of southern Walworth County and then into parts of Kenosha County as well. So that is farther east out of our viewing area, but there are still some areas in Walworth County that watch WMTV 15 News, so we will stay with this. So what we're watching is now moving past Delvin and close to East Delvin, Williams Bay, Lake Geneva, close to this as well. So right where we have those yellows and greens kind of close to each other, that's the area that we're watching. And I'll do something similar to what Brian did just a minute ago or so and put this in motion for you so you can kind of see how things have changed as this has started to move into the Williams Bay, Lake Geneva area. Notice how you start to see those reds curling around the greens just a little bit. That's a sign of rotation as those winds moving in one direction start to curl around the winds moving in another direction. So we're just looking at the wind speeds here and what direction they're moving in and also how fast they are moving. So what we're most concerned with right now is just to the north of Walworth and close to Lake Geneva as well. We'll put back our debris tracker on there. Not as clear as what we've seen with some other of the confirmed tornadoes earlier this evening, but still some small areas of concern near Williams Bay and just to the west of Lake Geneva. So these two areas right here, right in between East Delvin and into Williams Bay, and then also into Lake Geneva. So right along that 50 marker. So we'll zoom in even more and see if we can get any street names here. This is just to the southeast of Interstate 53 along Highway 50 and Highway 67. Those look to be the two main points that we're watching in Walworth County. Even though that velocity doesn't look as impressive as what we've seen with some other storms, just the fact that the National Weather Service is extending that tornado warning is enough to indicate that they're seeing something pretty promising here. And the National Weather Service is saying they're picking up on two different debris signatures with those storms, as I was just mentioning, one near Williams Bay and one near Lake Geneva. So two areas to be concerned about. We'll zoom back in and show you that once again in case you are in this area and see what we are watching. So we're watching right near Williams Bay and also right near Lake Geneva. So really this area here near Lake Geneva and then this area near Williams Bay where you see some of those greens and some of those reds and yellows closer together. So Highway 50, I believe that's Highway 120 as well, very close to this. And this is all just near Interstate 43, south and east of Interstate 43. So that tornado warning has been extended until, was it 8:45, I believe, or extended past that even. Let's take a closer look at that tornado warning that's extended. So for far southeastern Walworth County, that tornado warning is extended until 9:15 this evening. That area that includes Williams Bay and Walworth, that area goes until 8:45. So we'll continue to see this moving off towards the east. We can put a little tracker on this. We'll put velocity so we can see a better area of rotation and really pinpoint the area that we're watching here. These storms have been moving at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So we'll estimate this is moving towards the east at about 30 miles per hour. This will be getting into Lake Geneva if it's not already in the next couple minutes here at about 8:40. The time right now is 8:33, so just past 8:30. This will be getting towards Bloomfield at about 8:48, Twin Lakes right near 9 o'clock, into Wheatland just after 9, and then continuing to move through the rest of Kenosha County and out of Walworth County as we get closer towards 9 o'clock. So if you are in Lake Geneva, if you're in Williams Bay, still stay in that safe place as the National Weather Service is continuing to watch those two areas of rotation here this evening.
Yes, Amanda, and that is the next area of concern that we've been tracking, and it appears that storm has gotten its act together. If you've been with us the last hour or so, we had that tornado in Rock County around the Janesville area just south. That produced the tornado, then it kind of cycled. We've been watching it as it's moved out of Rock County into Walworth County, and ever so slowly it's been getting its act together. And I do think we have a tornado on the ground in this area between Walworth, Williams Bay, and Lake Geneva. You see the rotation there, and when I overlay it with the debris tracker, there is a pretty strong signature right around Lake Geneva, perhaps a little bit of a second one around Williams Bay. Amanda was talking about two areas of rotation we were keeping an eye on. Those are the areas we are keeping an eye on. It is a very hot day leading up to these storms. This is not a good situation. We probably have lots of people in the area. I hope that they are taking the necessary precautions, taking this very seriously. If not, this could be a very bad situation. If you know people in the area, Delavan Lake, Williams Bay, Lake Geneva, you need to make sure they are in their tornado safe place. They are getting off the water. They are not in anywhere that is going to be dangerous and getting to where they need to be, because this appears to be another tornado on the ground. We just got a new cycle there of our radar, and it looks like maybe these two storms are trying to combined in nature a little bit. Looks like that may be the case, so we'll see what happens in the next 5 minutes, but it looks like we had at least one, if not two, possible tornadoes on the ground between Walworth, Williams Bay, and Lake Geneva, Delavan Lake area. This storm may be cycling a little bit. One of the storms, the stronger storm, may be trying to absorb the weaker one, and we will see in the next couple of scans exactly what happens in this area. But Lake Geneva, very highly concerned that if you're not in your safe place, you are going to be putting yourself in a very, very dangerous situation, and one that you may regret. So do not be trying to look for this storm. As we've been saying all day, lots of rain associated with these, lots of wind, and it's not one of those that you'll be able to go outside, see it coming from the west, and then head inside. This storm, you may not be able to tell where that tornado is with all that very heavy rain and with all of that concern of potential quick spin-up tornadoes as well. Flooding remains a threat. We still have the severe thunderstorm warning for southern portions of Lafayette. While we wait for another scan coming out of that Rock and Walworth County storm, I want to take you into the Lafayette County storm and take a look at exactly what's happening there. That's going until 9:15, so that would be over a half hour from now if this storm continues. Cuba City, it's east of you, Sholsburg, Gratiot. This is moving eastward, eventually into Greene County, South Wayne, Monroe. You're going to be next in line if this holds together. I wouldn't be surprised to see this expanded downstream for the southern portion of Greene County because we have had 60-mile-an-hour winds associated with this, and perhaps up to about nickel-sized hail. So south of Darlington, you're in line for this storm and what's been a very, very active afternoon. Okay, I'm going to widen this out once again. Let's take another look down into Walworth County and what's going on with the velocity. We've had another scan or two coming with this, and there are some very, very gusty winds associated with this cell. Even if it's not producing the tornado that I think was on the ground a couple minutes ago, there are some extremely strong winds associated with this. Let me query some of these for you. You can see that with that part of the cell, perhaps 70 to 80-mile-an-hour winds as this storm moves to the east. A little bit weaker on the eastern side of this, perhaps 50-mile-an-hour winds. So outside of the threat of the tornado, the whole storm is producing very strong, damaging winds, and we are keeping an eye on the potential of that tornado. In the last scan here, looks a little bit better for maybe not seeing that tornado, but we need to watch it. Amanda, new information coming in.
Yeah, the National Weather Service has changed the tag on that warning to observed. They did that just a couple minutes ago. Now, that could be a delayed observation of that tornado where a spotter sent a picture to them a little bit late and said, hey, I saw this in parts of Walworth County. So we will continue to watch that as that rotation starts to look like it's weakening just a little bit. But the National Weather Service has confirmed that they believe at some point there was a tornado on the ground in this area of southern Walworth County. So we'll put the velocity back on. Again, this is starting to move right near Lake Geneva and just towards the south and west there. So headed towards Bloomfield into that area, and then this will soon be out of Walworth County and moving into Kenosha County. So at that point in time, once all the tornado warnings have been expired, we will be allowed to get off the air, but we will stay with this as long as it is including parts of southern Walworth County. So Williams Bay still in that tornado warning, Lake Geneva as well, Bloomfield still included in that tornado warning. We'll put the debris detection on there. And again, it doesn't look quite as good as it did before. Good as in it doesn't look quite as indicative of a debris ball in the atmosphere, which is good news. What we'd be looking at is just south of Lake Geneva and just west of Bloomfield. So this area right here where we see some oranges and yellows trying to peek through. If we go back about 15 minutes and see if we can really get the evolution of this little cell, we'll slow that down a little bit and you can kind of see how things evolved as it went from Williams Bay. Watch that little area of yellow just north of Williams Bay. Started to see those two areas of rotation, one near Williams Bay, one near Lake Geneva. And then those started to get a little bit more muddled as they moved past Lake Geneva and then where it is right now, south of Lake Geneva and into Bloomfield. So that is the area that we're watching very closely. Still not anything new from the National Weather Service, but they are warning people in Kenosha that they are the next in the line of fire. We don't cover Kenosha County, but if you know some family, some friends that live in Kenosha County, I would give them a call as that tornado warning is extended into Kenosha County, Brian.
Absolutely, Amanda, and good advice if you do know people in the area. I'm watching this cell in Lafayette County. In the last radar scan or two, it has shown a little better signs of rotation, and I'm not liking the way that this storm is going. Now, this is broad rotation. There is no immediate threat that this is going to produce a tornado, but this is kind of step one and perhaps this getting more organized and producing a tornado. So Shullsburg, South Wayne, Gratiot, Southern Lafayette County, I would be on high alert and treat this as a tornado warning in case this starts to get its act together in the next 5 or 10 minutes. The ingredients are here and the storm has been exhibiting characteristics that it's going, hey, I'm going to start rotating, and that's exactly what we're starting to see with the red and green there. It is very broad in nature, but it is something that has developed and that we haven't seen with this cell as it initiated out to the west, moved into Grant County, and initially moved into Lafayette County. It was exhibiting characteristics of just some straight line wind and some hail, and it wasn't really all that significant. Some 50, 60 mile an hour winds, pea-size hail. Now it's looking a little more like the 60 mile an hour winds may verify, and it is starting to do a little bit of some rotation. So I do want to give you a first alert, Shullsburg, Gratiot, South Wayne, the rest of southern Lafayette County, that you are going to be in line for this storm, and I would not be surprised if we see this warning expanded for the rest of the county and perhaps even back into portions of Greene County. I know that you've already been through a lot of storms this afternoon. You're not out of the woods just yet. A lot of the area north and west of Madison, you are. But if you're down near the state line, you are not out of the woods just yet. And something we need to keep a close eye on as we get a little closer to the 9 o'clock hour tonight and beyond. And hopefully we'll start to see these cells kind of meander south of the state line and weaken and become more of an issue for the Rockford area and for the Milwaukee area. While we wait for additional information out of that Lafayette County storm, we will take you back into the Walworth County storm and show you exactly what's going on. And we are seeing this rotating. I think a lot of this tornado warning is going to be cut back for Walworth County, which will be great news. It looks like the best potential of rotation may be into extreme eastern, southeastern Walworth County and southwestern portions of Kenosha and Racine counties. And of course, that would be exiting our area. But I do want to just give you a reminder, if you are in the Lake Geneva area and eastward, there's still the potential of those very, very gusty winds associated with this, perhaps 70 to 80 miles an hour. Embedded in here, we have that rotation that is going to be working eastward and out of the region. So you're not in the clear yet, Walworth County. You will be, I think, before 9 o'clock tonight. So fingers crossed we can get this out of here in the next 10 minutes or so, and we'll start to see that warning trimmed back and the concern moving towards Kenosha, Racine, and out of our viewing area. And just when you thought that we were going to be getting things calming down, we need to keep an eye on that cell, as I was mentioning, into portions of Lafayette County. I'm going to take another view at that and see exactly what's going on. And you can see the warning that's to the south into northern Illinois, Joe Daviess County. There is that tornado possible tag associated with it. That's what I'm concerned about. There is some rotation that is trying to develop right along the state line. This latest scan doesn't look as well organized. That would be favorable. We'll hope that continues, but the overall storm continues to rotate as it moves eastward. Basically, Highway 11 southward, Shullsburg, Gratiot, South Wayne. This is well south of Darlington. You're not at risk for any of this, but this is going to continue to be the next concern as we move towards the 9 o'clock hour tonight. Man, this has been an incredible day of severe weather across southern Wisconsin. We've been tracking this for I don't even know how many hours now. And while things are improving greatly north and west of Madison and including in the Madison area, we're still dealing with a pretty significant risk right along the state line. But the overall trend is for this to start sliding down to the south. And I'm hopeful that once we reach 9 o'clock and beyond, we will be out of this and we will be in an improving situation. We'll be able to assess what has happened this afternoon, and we'll be able to start the cleanup process of what's been a less than ideal start to the weekend. Of course, we will be having more coming up on WMTV 15 News at 9, but we are going to stick with you a little bit longer here due to the fact that we have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings still in place for southwestern Wisconsin and the ongoing tornado warning for eastern and southeastern portions of Walworth County as we push towards 9 o'clock tonight. So with that being said, let's do one more zoom in to the Walworth County area and take a look at what exactly is going on. And we are getting close to this rotation moving out of the county, and that's good news. I do want to continue to kind of talk about this though, and I know it's starting to get a little close to being out of our viewing area. But people see us, and this is a real threat. So if you can alert anyone, I would be happy of you doing that and getting them to their safe place, even if they're not seeing our broadcast right now and you are, because this is the cell that has produced multiple tornadoes from Grant County eastward now into portions of Walworth County, and we still have the potential of those very, very gusty winds. So we will keep an eye on that as we also keep a very close eye on the storm that is moving westward through Lafayette County. We did get a new scan on that. I want to take us back down into that and see exactly what's happening in terms of potential rotation with that, as it's now east of Shullsburg and a little closer to Gratiot. Not seeing this improve a whole lot structurally in terms of perhaps producing a tornado. That would be the really, really good news as we continue through the evening hours. Let's widen things out here and take just an overall wider view of this. And you'll continue to see the very gusty winds down near the state line and the potential that flooding situation develops secondarily to the gusty winds and the potential of those very, very strong winds, something we need to really keep an eye on between now and 9 o'clock tonight. I think we're nearing the end. There is some good news that we are going to be able to get out of our coverage here and returning to regular programming and eventually get to our WMTV 15 News at 9. But we still have a couple more minutes that we need to monitor things and a couple more minutes that we need to take a look at these storms as they continue to kind of drift down to the east. So again, currently, Rock County, no ongoing warnings for you except for the flash flood warning. Reports of some very high water causing issues. Same thing into Greene County, the severe thunderstorm warning. That continues for southern portions of Lafayette. And if all goes as planned, it would take the strongest portion of that, I think, just south of the state line, maybe just clipping extreme southern portions of Greene County. We're hopeful that's the case, and it takes any rotation with it kind of down to the south as well. But Amanda, I think things are looking a little bit better here. Have you been seeing anything that's of more concern in the last 5 or 10 minutes? We're hopeful we're finally going to be kicking this threat down to the south, and I think we will.
Yeah, I think that is true. The National Weather Service is chipping away at that tornado watch, still keeping it for our far southern counties. So Lafayette, Greene, Rock, Walworth counties and areas closer towards the lakeshore. Still included in that tornado watch is that line of storms is still right near you. Anywhere in green, that is a flood watch that is in place through most of southern Wisconsin. I believe that still continues until midnight. Now, of course, that is on top of all the flood warnings that we still have in place. We'll turn off all those other warnings so we can get a closer look at specifically the flood warnings that we have in place. Again, we still have that severe thunderstorm warning in southern Lafayette County, and then that tornado warning in far southeastern Walworth County, excuse me, and then moving into parts of Kenosha County. But here are all of those flood warnings that we have in place. Again, much of Dane County, really Madison areas northward, close to Watertown, included in a flash flood warning, parts of Sauk County, Columbia County, then into Crawford and Richland as well. If we throw on the estimated rain map, you can see a whole lot of heavy rain fell, especially in those areas, Madison and points northward, right in between Madison and the Dells. Really seems to be the pinpoint area. We can click on some of those spots there in northern Dane County. This is probably near DeForest. Estimating about 4.5 inches there, up near Portage in that orange color, close to about 4.25 as well. So a lot of heavy rain, and of course some of that heavy rain still falling in our southern counties right now, in parts of Greene, Rock County, and then into parts of Walworth County, where we still have that lingering threat for some of those thunderstorms here, Brian.
Yep, and thanks a lot, Amanda. We are hopefully going to be seeing some improvement here as we move through the next couple of minutes. We do still have that severe thunderstorm warning for Lafayette County until 9:15. We're going to be trimming back and cutting back that tornado warning for Walworth County as it moves into Kenosha and Racine County. So we are going to be able to be wrapping up our coverage here in just a minute. Keep an eye on things. We are going to be watching these storms very closely. If you live near the state line, there is still the risk for the next half hour to hour, I think, of some additional severe weather developing, including the potential of a quick spin-up tornado. Of course, we will keep an eye on that. A special shout out to Amanda for her awesome coverage this afternoon. Freddie, Eric, Jacob in our control booth, and Tyler Cameron for tracking this all in the newsroom. We're going to have much more for you coming up on WMTV 15 News at 9 and 10, but at least for the time being, we will toss it back to regular programming.